Kept you waiting, huh? Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, this is modern escapism. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Oodles, the most worthy podcaster in the world. Joining me today, a lady that bides her time for no man. It's Candy.
Hello.
Worth his weight in gold, but at what cost? It's Biggie.
Can't afford me.
And finally, he's waited till last for a funny quip and a witty pun. It's Stig. You didn't get one.
You didn't get one from
Was
me
it worth
either.
the wait? So, yes, Gadget won't be joining us this evening because he's booked some holidays in, because if he doesn't use them, he loses them. And I'm a diligent boss, and I make sure everyone gets their holidays.
And my pay rise?
Talk about that later.
You're gonna have to email me on that one, mate. I'll get back to you.
Talk to
Still
HR.
waiting.
Yeah, talk to HR. Oh, shit, you are HR.
It's been approved.
Oh, collusion. Right, so before we get into the show, please consider becoming one of our sexy and incredibly cool patrons to help us divide and conquer the podcasting world. Details are in our show notes, but mainly check out our website, modernescapism.co.uk, for more exquisite content and links to everything we do. And now it's time for the Nerd News Digest. It's Biggie's Breaking News! Yeah. You're not having a theme tune.
Yes, Scream 6. So Neve Campbell says she is not, or Neve Campbell says she is not returning for Scream 6 because she said, I felt the offer was presented to me did not equate to the value I brought to the franchise. It's been a very difficult decision to move on. To all my Scream fans, I love you, but not enough to appear in the movie, eh?
I to be honest,
She just wants more money.
I'm on her side. She's the star of that franchise, and this franchise was built on her. She should have a payday out of it. Like if it was a man, then that was the lead, then there wouldn't have been an issue.
Although it has kind of moved on a bit from her story, though, hasn't it? It could easily just move on to kind of a younger generation. Or, I mean, a new generation. I don't mean younger generation.
What has she done since Scream?
I was just literally going to say, what else does she do, though?
Just scream.
Exactly.
I just think, there's an argument on both sides, but I just think just pay her, even if you were just going to kill her off.
I'd pay her and kill her off in the first 10 minutes.
Apparently, it's moving to New York as well. It's going to be in New York. So
Would it work? I thought I've only seen the first 3, I think.
well, one was set in
is it-
Hollywood, and that was shit.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? That's the Jay and Silent Bob one.
Yeah.
But how many times can like the same killers happen in the same town? And
Yeah, even Nightmare on Elm Street got rid of Elm Street on the 3rd one, didn't they?
so.
Next.
Into the Sandman, in a link to our last podcast, but not. The Sandman is coming to Netflix on August the 5th as a TV series based on the awesome Neil Gaiman graphic novels.
Gaiman,
I don't know. But yeah, it's I've read these, they're awesome. And again, it's that we have the technology now to kind of deliver those visions. I think going back X amount of years, it probably wouldn't have come off. So I think looking at, I know you're either fans or not of Fantastic Beasts and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. It's like you can now create these worlds. And yeah, I'm really interested. I thought the trailer looked really awesome.
For people that don't know as well, this is not Sandman from Spider-Man.
Or Metallica.
It's a tale of gods and stuff like that. It's really good. It's really good.
I'm excited for it, and I don't even know anything about it. I just, from the hype of other people of the podcasts I've listened to.
He's pretty solid, isn't he, Gaiman?
Yeah.
There's not many of his works that aren't great. Like I think the only one that I've read that I didn't really like was Anansi Boys, but that's because they're spiders. I really wish that they'd do one of the Graveyard Book.
I still liked Anansi Boys, though. Still did.
But it wasn't for me. Absolute favourite graveyard book, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that. Next up, we've got What We Do in the Shadows. You'll be pleased to know has been renewed for a 5th and 6th series as well.
Excellent. That's it. Finish it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it needs to at some point stop.
6 series is enough for that show. Like, it's a brilliant show, but yeah, just don't drive it into the ground. 6 series will be perfect. But I'm happy for that.
Through his heart.
And also more Madonna, because she seems to pop up all the time. Julia Garner has been offered the role of Madonna, an up-and-coming biopic about the pop icon. She's surprised this has taken longer than it has, actually, to have a biopic of Madonna.
It's because she's still alive.
Yeah, but still.
Well, so was Elton John. He did one.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. And the Rocket Man one is like a fantasy retelling, wasn't it? It was quite fun. It wasn't that realistic.
Elton John said that with Rocket Man, that at the time that set, he was off his tits high all the time.
So we can't remember.
So that's why he wanted the film to be like that. Like it was, the film was high. He said, and I was an arsehole and a bastard, and I did things. And that's why in that film, it's like kind of warts and all. And he's kind of going, yeah, that's what I did. That's how I felt at the time. Yeah. Whereas obviously with the Queen one, they kind of didn't touch into the bad stuff.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know whether Madonna, where she goes with this, because she's never really been one for not hiding stuff. Like
she also has been off her tits all this time.
Yeah, she's very protective of her image as well, though. I expect she had a big hand in who actually portrayed her.
Oh, she did. She picked it. I think she's actually directing this as well. So.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's going to be one of those things where at the beginning, oh my God, you're born with such natural talent, Madonna. You should be a star. That's what it's going to be.
I'm kind of interested to that, but
I am.
I wonder whether she's going to be happy to delve into some of the like shit shows rather than just make it all about, oh, look how good I am at singing.
I hope they do a full half an hour on when she was dragged off stage by a cape.
Yeah, I was about to say that in slow motion.
That's my favorite.
That song that's like goes
ever.
Like do 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 do. Yeah, it's just like half an hour of that as she's being pulled off the stage in slow mo.
Yeah. It's incredible when you see that.
I pay a lot of money for that. I watch that every week. Just cheers me up.
Oh, that's a 65-year-old woman falling down the stairs. You're laughing at you heartless bastards.
Getting garroted. I don't care.
Something else that cheered me up. E3 is back, apparently, in 2023.
Is it?
Is it,
as
though?
both a digital and physical show. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I've just lost track of what show's on when. I think it's only thanks to our Discord that we have any bloody idea when they're coming on. But they're just...
Your best bet is to just leave YouTube on all day and see what happens.
I mean, at least at E3, you kind of had all the showcases, but now everybody's doing their own, and then there are other developers are doing their own, and you just haven't got the time to just sit there.
I mean,
and watch
as
all
we
these
speak
shows.
now, we are missing the PC gaming show. What are we going to do? This is ridiculous. We're not true gamers because we're missing the biggest PC gaming
To
show.
be fair, sometimes the PC gaming show does announce some pretty good games.
10 minutes on RTX cards and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, there's all that, but...
New keyboard! What? What? Oh my
It goes clickety-clack really loud.
Yeah, that's the best type. And the ones that light up and dance.
I like the thumpy thump ones, not the clickety-clack ones.
Yeah.
When they introduce a keyboard that sucks my dick, I'm in.
Well, have I got the keyboard for you?
It wasn't a flesh keyboard. Does that work? No. Okay.
E3 ain't coming back, I don't think. I don't trust it.
No.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
E4.
Okay, so again, linking in with our last podcast, Top Gun, but this isn't as positive. So apparently, Top Gun Maverick could be back in the danger zone after a California lawsuit has claimed that the sequel breaches copyright back in of a 1983 article. The lawsuit comes from the estate of Ehud Yoneh, author of a 1983 magazine article titled Top Guns, which inspired the original. So I don't know where this is going to go. I think this is probably going to be chucked out of court. But
Of course it is. It's
Yeah.
absolute rubbish.
the
They didn't came up
screenplay
with
is
the
a
plot, did they?
screenplay, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
we've shown lately that people just can't sue people for nothing anymore. It's getting to the point now. Is it going to be worth your time to sue Hollywood?
Tom Cruise.
He's got Scientology behind him. They ain't getting nowhere.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just one of those ones. Like, why didn't he sue any time before now? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, look how well this film's doing.
Yeah,
I'm going to try and get some of that money. It'll get thrown out.
And I'm not being funny, but I bet there's 4,000 books about aircraft pilots. Do you know what I mean? I bet there's fucking thousands. Idiots. Next.
Joker director Todd Phillips revealed the working title for the Joker sequel, which fits in perfectly with our topic for later.
It does.
The Joker 2.
Had an image of lead actor Joaquin Phoenix reading the script, which the title apparently at the moment is Joker Folie à Dieu.
Okay.
Does that mean like Madness of 2 or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't need a sequel. Whether you like that film or don't like that film, I know there's it seems to have gone through a lot of people saying they don't like it now more than they did like it, which, do you know what I mean? It seems to have gone through one of those.
I was there at the beginning saying I don't really care for this film.
I liked it.
Fuck
it. I really, really, really liked it. I don't care. I don't care if it borrowed themes from some like Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. I really like this film, and it didn't need a sequel, so one and done. But money.
Yeah.
Money.
It's good that it left you asking questions as well, and now if they're going to attempt to kind of explain what happened in the first film, it ruins it.
It's a good mood piece. It's a good think piece and mood piece, but other than that,
like this is perfect for today's topic.
And Joaquin was fine in the role. I thought he was perfectly fine as Joker. He delivered.
Joaquin Phoenix is one of the best actors on planet, mate.
The spiral of somebody
anything
going
you
into madness. And speaking of which, cunnilingus. So yes, there was a ploy from a woman in Brazil who almost killed her partner after she put lethal toxin in her private parts. The intended victim.
What?
Says his wife tried to
do with media. Biggie.
I thought it was just a brilliant
TV
story.
show about it.
It was
Let
on
him
Fox.
have his moment.
It was on Fox News. That's why.
Oh well, fuck that.
His wife tried to lure him into bed and encouraged him to perform oral sex on her. His suspicions were aroused when he noticed an unusual odour emanating from her private parts. And fearing she was unwell, he took her to hospital. And they then discovered that she put toxin down there that, funny enough, would have killed both her and her husband. She confessed, and apparently she hatched this bizarre plot after asking her husband for a divorce. So that's Brazil for you.
I think Biggie just liked this story and wanted to tell everyone.
Absolutely.
Didn't she just put poison in his drink?
Exactly.
Classic.
What a great way to do it, though.
Not douse it all over your vajayjay.
Next.
Speaking of twats, Xbox,
That's why he wanted
Microsoft.
to do it. He wanted to do that.
That's all he wanted to do was a segue.
Fuck.
No, Microsoft have now confirmed that Xbox games are coming to TVs, specifically Samsung models that apparently are only 2022 smart TVs. So if you had a TV,
they're only £995 at the moment as well.
It's interesting that it's
to
going to be cloud enabled.
To be honest, if you want a cracking TV and an Xbox, it's going to cost you more than £1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
of course it is. Of course it is.
I just don't think cloud gaming is there yet.
No, it's not
And also
great.
don't think that the infrastructure on internet, even in the UK, especially in the US, isn't there.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you're on super mega gig fiber, whatever it is.
The thing is, right, in Korea, where they're going to launch this, because obviously it's Samsung, internet's stupidly high in Korea. So they're going to see benefits from it.
Yeah.
They're like minimum packages, like 1,000 megabits a second or something like that. I'm lucky if I'm breaching 100.
I think this is just them setting the way that
the way it's going to be.
Like phase out consoles, because they don't make any money on them, really, do they? Like
no, nobody makes money on consoles. None of them do. I think it's a good move. It's a future-proof move.
Yeah.
There's some talk about the Sony doing a PlayStation 5 Pro and Xbox releasing something similar as well.
Of course they are.
Last
They're all
week,
going to do that. That's what they do. That's the console cycle in a nutshell, isn't it?
Usually about 3 years down the line, isn't it?
Yeah. This is better. Forget your old one. This is better. You won't be able to buy one though, because you still can't buy the old one.
With all the issues about the chips and everything, I just thought maybe this
one hasn't got chips. It's water.
I
I
generally think this is Microsoft literally saying, like, if we nail this and it works, how long do generations last? 7-8 years? In 5-6 years time, if this is running perfectly on people's TVs, they go, we're not launching a console anymore. Our services, Game Pass, and you download the app on your TV, pay subscription, and that'll be
Still waiting for Game Pass on Switch, then I'm done, mate. I'm in.
Steam Deck.
Yeah, Steam.
That's where I want Game Pass.
That's the way to fucking play, isn't it? If you could do a Steam Deck with a 10-hour battery life, my God.
So the news that you've all been waiting for, a Duke Nukem movie is in the works from the Cobra Kai creators, apparently. The company behind Dune and Godzilla monster movie series has picked up the movie rights from Gearbox. And the Cobra Kai creators, Josh Held, John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg, are on board to produce.
See, that's a good thing.
That's the only thing I think
Cobra
that
Kai's
can
really
maybe
fucking daft and fun.
Help this is exactly that, because no one gives a fuck about a Duke Nukem movie, really. It's got to either be a parody of everything that's already parodied.
Imagine
can't
it
be
this way, though.
Serious movie, really, can it? Even with a title like that.
Imagine it like, remember what Stig loved about the Chip and Dale film, where it's like, in on itself, it's meta, isn't it? If you do that with Duke Nukem, make him a fallen icon.
What's the John Cena one? What's that called? Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, something.
Something
along that. Something
like that.
where he knows what he is and he knows what he used to be, and it's like, imagine a Duke Nukem trying not to be a misogynist and stuff like, oh, I've got to change my ways.
It should be honest. Peacemaker is very like Duke Nukem. Like on the surface of him, he's all bravado and like swearing and putting people
John Cena
down.
would make a good Duke Nukem, actually.
Trying to be the big man, and then behind closed doors, he's vulnerable. He's traumatized. Like, they could do that with Duke Nukem.
It's the only way it'll work.
And there's many professional wrestlers that look like him, so we could get loads of people to play him. Yeah. Anyone could play him.
Brock Lesnar.
Your mate, what's his name? Channing Tatum. He could do it.
Brock Lesnar can't act for shit, though, so you can't Brock Lesnar.
I think Brock Lesnar's a little bit too big to be Duke Nukem.
It's not stopped Keanu Reeves.
Don't, because the Keanu Reeves fans will come at us again. Sick of it.
Brock Lesnar could be one of the hogs that he fights. Space hogs. Yeah.
Next one, I love this story. This is incredible. So Snoop Dogg gives a full-time blunt roller a pay rise due to inflation. The US rapper, famed for being an avid cannabis smoker, of course, confirmed he's given the person responsible for producing perfectly rolled joints pay rise. Imagine seeing that as in the job, wherever you get your jobs online. Go,
do you want to know how much? Roller. Do you want to know how much he earns?
Go on.
Yeah.
Let's have a guessing game. How much do you think Snoop Dogg pays his blunt roller?
Oh my God.
70k.
I can get
35.
minimum wage. No, maybe a bit. 40 grand in dollars. No.
I reckon like 70k, because he's going to be part of his entourage, so we won't have to buy food or drinks.
Apparently gets given, like gear and clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He won't have to pay for nothing. 70k.
No, Candy was right. It's 40,000. But 40,000 is still a lot of money to roll joints.
Does Snoop Dogg not realise, and this is the weird thing, he even sells his own pre-rolled blunts.
Maybe he's got this dude rolling them for everyone.
I mean, it's hard work, isn't it? Do you know how many joints that Snoop Dogg gets through in a day?
Imagine, yeah. You're going to be busy.
Oh, you'd get blisters on your fingers, wouldn't you?
They've probably got it. They probably just got a machine, just one of those ones, and then just done.
You can't roll them right on a machine, can you, guys?
Just Eats couldn't have picked anyone more
I wouldn't know.
to advertise food as well.
Told. Oh, wow.
A blunt roller, Jesus. What a job.
Incredible.
How do you get that job, though?
Yeah, I'd love to know. And finally, lastly, The Last of Us Season 1 has officially wrapped. I'm looking forward to this. I think it looks like they're going for the atmosphere, at least, the look of the game. So I'm very interested to see how this turns out.
In HBO we trust, don't we?
Is it going to be
Definitely.
exactly like the game, or
thing.
is it going to be doing their
If
own
it was
thing?
like, if it was like on
Paramount Plus,
I don't know, not Paramount Plus, something even worse.
It'd be
like,
terrible.
Who's the guy that do the Flash and
CW?
Arrows?
Fuck me.
Yeah, if the CW were doing the Last
Can
of
you
Us,
imagine
like,
the last
fuck off.
CW's Last of Us? Jesus. PG, The Last of
Archie
Us.
turns up. Yeah, fuck that. But yeah, it's HBO, man. It's got to be notebook quality.
Yeah.
And Troy Baker and I can't remember her name. The girl that plays Ellie. They're both going to be in it
Ashley.
as well. Probably just as cameos.
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna probably just a walk on. I'd love them to do like the Spider-Man thing, like just the exact dressed exactly the same.
They're probably lickers or something.
They probably
Not lickers.
will be.
What are they?
Clickers.
Clickers.
You're going back to your other news story.
Lickers is resi.
Yeah.
I know we're going to end it on that.
And speaking of liquors,
is that the news, sir?
Yeah, that's the news. Can you give us a football
Thank
update,
God.
please, Stiggy?
yeah, don't care. It's pre-season.
0-0.
I don't even know what the England score
Excellent.
was.
No, I don't. Anyway, let's move on to the Nexus. I think we've all got something this week, haven't we?
Oh.
Nice, that. Nice. We've all been busy. I want to know what Stig's been up to.
Well, after last week, when Gadget talked about Star Trek, and we had a little quick mention of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
I mean, the whole chat about Star Trek was 25 minutes long, so not quick.
Yeah. GTA was a bit longer, I think, fortunately.
Yeah, it was. I thought you'd come in with an apology today. Sorry for my extended half-an-hour chat about GTA.
Good game. Good games.
Give my list of Street Fighter games
yeah.
wasn't that long.
Oh, that list.
That was too long, mate. Fucking hell.
Anyway, yeah, I've watched Star Trek Strange New Worlds this week. And this is, I'll put it out straight away, this is the best Star Trek since Voyager, bar none.
Wow.
It is back to being Star Trek. It's episodic, kind of mission of the week, if you will, that kind of thing. It has really great characters. I really like Captain Pike.
Yeah, I like him.
Captain Pike is played by Anson Mount. He was played Captain Pike in Discovery, I believe.
Discovery.
I never got that far because I quit on it.
Oh, he's the best thing in it, but you have to wait till season 2.
Yeah, exactly. He's really, really good, really charming, really charismatic.
He's very good looking as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's got a great quaff.
Yes, he has.
Quiff.
Queef.
Yeah. Yeah, so he kind of started out in Discovery, didn't he? And then this takes place after whatever happened there with his new crew on the Enterprise. So this is taking place before the original series. He is the captain of the Enterprise before Kirk. So on this, you do get a young Spock. He is a character. You get a young Uhura as well. And then you get a lot of new characters in there. His number one is just called Number One. I don't know what her name is. That is just her character.
Yep. I wonder if it's the same Number One as he had in Discovery.
Yes, it is. Rebecca Remain? Yeah.
Remain.
Yeah, it's her.
That's cool then.
Yeah, it's just the writing is excellent. The set pieces are really good. The any of the battles have been in are really good, and yeah, it just feels like it's back to being Star Trek. I genuinely think this is proper Star Trek. Everyone's got their own little backstory, which they work into the weekly show narrative nicely. Captain Pike has a lot of stuff and baggage from Discovery, but if you haven't watched that, it don't matter because you kind of caught up with that within the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, in Discovery, at a certain point, he like left and did his own thing. That must have been the point where this show started.
Yeah, well, basically, it's kind of known in law. He finds out how he dies.
Yes, he did in Discovery.
So he finds out he dies, and that kind of just sets him off the rails a little bit.
Sends him off, yeah.
And then they're like, we need you to come back. We need you back on the Enterprise. And then we get, this show from it.
Yeah, for people that don't know, he's the guy that trained Kirk.
Yeah.
So he's his protege, basically.
But this is all like canon. Like in the original series, he was he was in a wheelchair and he was like burnt up and disfigured from an accident or something that happened. This is all kind of leading towards that. Whether they're going to kind of stick to that timeline or not, we'll see the longer the show goes on.
They have started diverting timelines on Star Trek.
Yeah, they have.
They did in Discovery. They started that trend.
Exactly. So we could probably see them like moving away from that and doing something different. The feedback I'm seeing online, people really enjoying it. On the forums I'm on, people saying, just watched episode 4. This is 4 for 4 now. It's great. And the week after, 5 for 5. It's really good. It just feels, and I can't stress this enough, like Star Trek. It doesn't feel like you can say you enjoy Discovery or Picard. I didn't enjoy them personally, especially Picard. Picard is just emotional manipulation throughout the whole thing, but with really bad writing. So it just doesn't work. Does it not
respect the viewer?
No, it doesn't, and it doesn't respect Star Trek at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
But this does. It feels like the writers are actually Star Trek fans.
Does it have a good theme tune?
This is one of my only gripes. It does not have a good theme tune. I was so disappointed. It starts out with a space, the final frontier kind of speech.
Does it?
And then it kind of then plays on the original tune, more so than the 90s stuff. It kind of mixes that in. But then I thought, right, here come the horns and the epic tune that, you'll be singing years down the line. Yeah. But it doesn't. It just kind of does that kind of like, like kind of.
Imagine though how worse it'd be if it was like space, the final frontier, these are the Voyager, and then it went, no, come on.
That'd be awesome.
You know what I mean?
Still not as bad as Enterprise. It's still not as bad as the weird Rod Stewart-esque ballad, but it's very Hans Zimmer-esque but forgettable, really forgettable. Like you won't be. You wouldn't hear this and go, oh, that's Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Like you would DS9 or the original series. Or
It sounds so fucking nerdy that we're sat having a discussion about a theme tune that's on for fucking 30 seconds.
Do you know what all I can think of?
It's just a part of Star Trek.
All I can think of is it should be a whole new world, but a strange new world. The Aladdin song. That's all I've got in my head.
The Disney's It's a Small World After All.
The theme tune is massive. Like, when I went to see, I know it's a different series, but when I went to see Rogue One and there was no crawl, I was like, huh?
Yeah, it's
weird. What the fuck's that? Yeah, I don't like it.
But
still on the plans and the crawl.
The only other thing that I would say is I think what I would prefer would if this had been in the future and just got rid of all the baggage of Discovery, the original series. Yeah. It wouldn't have any legacy characters in like Picard or Riker or anyone because they'd all be dead. And the title Strange New Worlds would have made sense. It still makes sense now in terms of the characters on the screen.
New to them.
But it would be new to us as well. The problem it has is it's limited in its lore in that their technology and their discoveries and stuff can't go beyond what we know.
Yeah.
So if you would set this in a new quadrant they discovered, they could discover new species, they could discover new technologies and new things. It's still really good in its own right, and it still works.
I'm gonna start it tomorrow.
It still works really, really well. But I think that it's about time we had a Star Trek that was a bit further in the future like this. I don't want, and I stress this enough, I know you like Discovery, I don't want a Discovery type show. I want this, for me, Star Trek is this kind of exploring episodic.
Yeah, you want them out and about
doing episodic adventures, and then occasionally you come back to that episode.
Yeah,
or you have a 2-parter. That's fine. I have nothing against a season arc because I love The Expanse and that has like season arcs and stuff. Just Star Trek, I just enjoy it when it's episodic and they're doing things week to week. And this is back at that with really good writing, really good characters, and really looking forward to seeing more.
Fantastic, brilliant. I'm gonna go now. So I've got 2 things, one really little one. So
we know that.
Knights of the Old Republic 2. Hey, you cheeky get. Knights of the Old Republic 2. Has anyone ever played that before?
Nope.
No.
The first one.
I've never played it.
So off the strength of it's so good. Off the strength of God is a Geek review by the ever beautiful Lyle Carr, I decided to buy it for Switch because sometimes you think, should I get the Switch version because it's out on everything. it's kind of a semi-remaster type thing. It's not really. It's just smoothed. Do you know when it's smoothed and it's a bit less choppy? This game's fucking brill. It's Mass Effect before Mass Effect, so if you've ever played that, you'll know how to play this. But with lightsabers, it's set, which blows my mind. It's set 4,000-5,000 years before the Star Wars we know from the films, which is fucking weird because the technology has not progressed in 5,000 years in that universe. They still have astro droids, they still have lightsabers, they still all wear the same clothes. Why is that a thing in certain sci-fi things where it's so far in the future or so far behind? Technology is just, look what we've achieved as a species in 5,000 years. Language, do you know what I mean?
It's weird, isn't it? When you look at our progression as humans, how far we've come in just a couple hundred years. Yeah, in sci-fi shows over thousands of years, it's like they've gone, we've hit peak technology.
Yeah, we're going to stop.
Yeah.
Can't be asked.
I was looking on a review, a different review on this game, and they were talking about that, and they were saying like, yeah, but I suppose in the films the ships are shinier. I went, fucking hell, is that all they've done in 5,000 years of cleaned ships?
CGI got better, basically.
But yeah, it's just a fun Mass Effect style game where it's very Dungeons and Dragons. Like every attack is a roll, and if you miss that roll, you'll just miss. You can't see the rolls happening. It's all going behind the scenes. Classic computer role-playing game. Kind of turn-based, but not really turn-based. You're constantly moving and stuff. Really good story. And you can have fucking any colour lightsaber you want, which, why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's really good. But the main thing I want to talk about, and I've got... This is hard for me to discuss.
Why?
Because...
Big grin on Candy's face right now.
My whole persona is my loathing for a particular actor.
Oh, okay.
So, Adam Sandler. I know you're listening to this. I've got an apology to make. Okay, you are a good actor. Because I watched his latest film, Hustle, and my God, I think it's my film of the year. I fucking adore this film. It's available on Netflix as well, if you're wondering. It's up there with Rocky for me now, and I know we're only talking about Rocky last week. It's very, the template is like Rocky as well. So if you don't know what it is, so it's an American sports drama film with slight bits of comedy, directed by Jeremiah Zagar, from a screenplay by Taylor Materne and Will Fetters. Now, they're known for film people. The film stars Adam Sandler as an NBA scout who discovers a raw talent player in Spain's Juancho Hernan Gomez and tried to prepare him for the NBA draft. Queen Latifah's in it, Ben Foster's in it, Robert Duvall's in it, LeBron James is the producer, so it's a basketball film, basically. And Adam Sandler's fucking spellbinding in it. Like, Oscar worthy, in my opinion. Which is look at Candy's face. He is super, super, super good in this as Double Deuce. That's his nickname, because basically he plays an ex-basketball that had an unfortunate accident, so he then became a scout. So he basically travels the world for the NBA looking for, like, it's a known thing. They do it now, like go to Russia for some tall people, they go to Spain for tall people, they go all over the globe. And Ben Foster takes over the Philadelphia 76ers, and Ben Foster and Adam Sandler don't get on. And Ben Foster says, "You're out unless you can find someone else, someone that new fucking Michael Jordan, that new fucking pizzazz. You know what I mean? That big star player. Because even people that don't like basketball know the big hitters, don't they? Because it's like if you don't like football, you know who David Beckham is, that kind of thing. So he's out there, and he's losing will to continue because he's having trouble with his wife and his daughter. He doesn't see them at all because he's out and about. And he's in Spain, and he sees this fucking one-on-one basketball duel between Bo, this basketballer, biggest fucking man you've ever seen, absolutely ripped, huge, and he's a construction worker. And so it's the journey of how he takes him to try and get into the the NBA draft, and it's just so fucking good. Like there is a little bit of comedy to it. It's funny. There's a lot of cameos from real NBA personalities and stuff like that. But there's just something about it. There's training montages. There's amazing hip hop soundtrack. Biggie, you're gonna love the soundtrack, mate. I swear.
Check it out.
Adam Sandler, I couldn't take my eyes off him throughout the whole thing. He suits this middle-aged, chubby moron in a weird way.
He was available, but I didn't hear anyone.
He's a lovely bloke.
Didn't hear from anyone.
he's just so fucking good. And it's about how he's so determined. Imagine if Rocky was about Mickey rather than Rocky. Do you know what I mean? It's like that, but it's just so... I can't... I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil the plot, but if you've got any interest in Adam Sandler's redemption, because we had Uncut Gems and then we've got this now, haven't we? That's...
Yeah, but his next film is going to be Murder Mystery 2, so...
Oh, for fuck's sake. This is what I mean. He did Hubie Halloween or whatever as well, and in between, it's like... When he's not directing it, when he's not in charge, the boy can act. And he's so fucking good in this. Everyone in it's incredible. Most of the basketballers in it are real basketballers. Just to give them different names and stuff like that. But if you like Rocky in any facet whatsoever, and you just love to see that rags to riches and a man that's willing to put everything on the line because he thinks that this is a sure shot to his own redemption as well as making someone else's life better as well. It fucking hits, man. And the reviews for it are fantastic. They're saying it's like his second best ranked film he's ever done.
What's his first? Uncut Gems?
Yeah, I think so. And then I think it's Happy Gilmore. It was close.
Punch Drunk Love must be quite high.
Mm.
Yeah, it will be. But this is... there's no flaws to it at all. And I wanted to go in and hate him because it's Adam Sandler, but if he does more films like this, I'll have to change my stance on him big style. But his hit ratio's not very good, is it?
Ooh, might be up for a biggie.
Mate, it's my film of the year so far. I fucking love it. I absolutely love it.
The Redemption Biggie Award.
Yeah.
You
got one this year.
Yeah. I watched it the other day. And I told my wife about it, and I'm going to watch it again this week. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I've never done that with an Adam Sandler film in my life. So, yeah, sorry, Adam. But yeah, back in, mate. And until Murder Mystery 2 comes out, and I'm like, you're fucking crap. But yeah, that's me. Biggie, what you been up to?
As usual, I've been a bit behind in the game, so I've been catching up with Better Call Saul, been catching up with The Boys, really enjoying both, excellent. Cannot wait for
Boys is so good.
The final part of Better Call Saul. The Boys, I haven't quite finished episode 4 yet, but I'm really enjoying that, really, really good. Top quality stuff, like everybody has said, better than the last season as well.
I'm on season 3 of Better Call Saul now, by the way, and... You're right. It's fucking good.
I told you.
just quickly, last week when you talked about The Boys, Biggie and I took our headphones off. Listen back to that bit that you're talking about now, and I've watched that bit that you were talking about now.
Yeah, did you enjoy it?
Fucking hell!
Can I just say that since the Scorched episode, sex toys seem to have been used in a lot of movies and TV series all of a sudden.
Yeah, Gadget said that to me. It's like everything we seem to do, everyone just steals off us. We need to start patenting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I noticed also when I had The Boys about to show the next episode, it's rated 15. How the fuck is that a 15? For fuck's sake!
I was about to say there's no penetration in it, but yeah, there is.
There is, yeah. There's everything.
I
can't think of one thing that's not a theme within The Boys. They just don't give 18s out for anything anymore. Do you think it's because it's straight to TV rather than on at the cinema? Because I know they do change them sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, I genuinely think there's less certification for TV shows,
especially streaming.
There always has.
It used to be that 18 would be because of sex rather than violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally literally a big massive CGI bell end.
I think
at one point.
the actors now have to full on shag on set, don't they, for it to be an 18?
Yeah. It's nuts.
It's fucking crazy.
The one thing I have watched, which I believe no one else has, hopefully, is Our Father. You guys aware of this? It's
Our Father.
an American
Yes.
Netflix original documentary. It is no different to all the other Netflix documentaries that they do. So you know the style. It has that foreshadowing music. It starts off talking heads. It's
Cliffhanger, even though you're going to binge it.
yeah. This is based on this is factual events, and some of these are recordings, and it's also got a bit of reenacting with actors and some of the real people as well. It's got everything that you need. But the story is basically based around an Indianapolis-based fertility center, where one of its doctors, Donald Klein, who basically it's a case of fertility fraud. He uses his own sperm to impregnate dozens of unsuspecting patients.
What?
So
It's fucking nuts.
right, so
Real, just
we've been through this ourselves
It's like
as
rape.
a couple, and it's just something that you could not even think could happen. So
Fathom.
basically, it starts with some of the women talking about how this. Oh, by the way, this happened in the sort of 70s and 80s. So it starts off obviously back in the past, and it talks about how these poor women and their husbands have obviously been trying to have families. Turns out to be that the men are having the issues, so they're looking to see what they can do. This particular clinic has a very good reputation, as does the doctor. So they've gone there, had found out that they're told basically that any donated sperm will only be used up to 3 times. And back in the days of before you can have all this frozen malarkey, it would basically just have people donate regularly, and it'd be pretty warm if you want to talk about it that way.
Yeah, they used to pay them, didn't they? They used to pay for donations.
So
and stuff.
people would obviously try and find a donor that is as close to the couples as possible, and that was all fine.
Yeah, looks wise.
So then, one of the children that was successful, obviously, she's got older. She wanted to find out if she had any siblings because she's grown up in a very happy family, but always wondered what it would have been like.
Oh no, I know what's
So she goes on one of those DNA sites that somebody recommended, saying, send off your DNA. So as the results come back, it says that she potentially is related. This isn't a spoiler. This is right at the beginning. That she is related to potentially 7 people. So then she starts trying to investigate who they are to sort of just say, oh, well, this is really interesting. This is a bit weird. And then the story just starts to unfold. I can quite happily spoil it here if you want. Or I can just leave it for people that want to watch it.
No, just give me the bullet point.
So then, from that point, it's then revealed to some other couples that it wasn't donor sperm used, and they also had their own sperm brought in. So it's the husband's actually donating their own sperm to hopefully be used. It then turns out it's this doctor. Yeah. And
the dirty get.
The amount of people, I won't give you the figure because it's revealed at the end of the episode, but
oh god,
when they discover what's going on, so this particular person, Jacoba is her name, she ends up obviously trying to get the Attorney General involved to have this doctor investigated, never hears anything back. So in the end, she contacts one of those sort of local news reporters, emails her and says, look, I've got this story, I've done my own investigation. So obviously she gets involved and everybody else then gets involved. They get lawyers involved. But the most disgusting thing about this is that there is no law that covers what he did. So if you think that rape is rape, battery is battery, violence, etc., murder, manslaughter, there's all these things that have all these different labels and connections. But what he actually did, there's nothing that covers it in law. So they couldn't charge him with anything related to that.
Oh,
but there is something that
disgusting.
They can do, which gets revealed in the. I think the new
pour it all over his fucking
head.
The
news story itself is shocking. It's just unacceptable what he's done. It's I'd say, no different to something that Harold Shipman did. It's that sort of it's just
It's fucking
outrageous.
disgusting.
These families basically then get told,
Yeah, it's a breach of
yeah,
trust, isn't it?
you are my father. You've obviously brought me up. You know, I'm like 40 years old. You've been my father all my life. But they then find out you're not my
Yeah.
father. And that is just devastating for the family, for the wife, for the father,
Awful.
for the husband, the son and daughter. But also because the restriction of only having the donor used 3 times, because they don't want people in a particular area. So let's say it's in a city, to have all these people related to
Yeah.
each other, because then if they become adults and then start dating, that they could be almost having incest.
There'll be 40 kids identical running around as well.
So then, as the story unfolds,
Fucked up,
more and
man.
more people are discovered, and the number is just shocking. This whole story is shocking.
That's horrendous. I want to watch it out of like morbid
You should do.
curiosity.
It's well worth
I
watching.
can't wait to watch this.
The documentary itself is quite short, and I think they tried to fill it out as best as they could with what the story unfolds. Is basically, it is what it is. There's no other drama around it. You know, it's basically, this is what's happened. This is what they tried to.
That's enough, really.
It is,
isn't it?
but it's kind of, it's not the most riveting documentary in the sense of how it's presented. It's had mixed reviews.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree. It's an interesting story, absolutely horrific. But the way it's presented, I don't know, just, it's not its best. But just,
yeah, it's still
ooh,
disgusting.
what's happened to these people? Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. And the reveals at the end,
I'm glad that these things come out,
which they
especially on
should do,
something as big as
because
Netflix, because then
you know,
everyone's going to be like, this
we
is the
went
thing.
through IVF as well, and if this had happened to us, I would just be like absolutely devastated. It'd be shocking how this has happened, and I cannot sympathise enough for these people that have been affected. But the reveal at the end, so the documentary finishes, goes to black, and then it gives you that usual blurb of this is where we are now, and the data in that is just mind blowing. But yeah, just check this out. It's a great documentary in the sense of what it's covering. The people in there are very honest and open. It's heartbreaking to hear what's happened to him. The doctor himself is just a cunt. But yeah, just people. Oh, and people that worked with him had no idea he was doing this. But yeah, the way they
not going to do that conception, is it?
the way they describe how things have happened and that, it's just incredible documentary, but not the best presented. But the story itself is worth finding out.
Thank you for bringing it to light, because it's an
I
important
think so.
thing, and yeah, absolutely.
I know they say it's not covered by rape, but I'm sorry, that is rape.
Mm.
It
is, isn't it?
It's the most personal invasion you could possibly imagine.
The lack of consent, non-consensual, is the biggest issue with this. But
fucking lost life. Anyway, Candy, I hope you got something a bit more light-hearted than that.
Yeah, I think I do. I'll lighten the mood a bit, shall I? I've been doing 2 things this week. First thing I've been playing a little game, adorable, called Silt. I don't know if you've heard of this one. It came out about a week ago. So Silt.
No, what is Silt?
Silt is an underwater horror game. It's created by indie developers Spiral Circus. I've actually been waiting for this one for quite a while. I saw the trailer a while ago, and I was kind of piqued by its visuals. The entire game, it's all black and white. Visually, it's like incredibly stylized and beautiful. The graphics have a sort of a hand-drawn quality to them, but somehow they convey a real sense of doom as well.
It's gorgeous.
I'm looking now. It looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it is just drop dead gorgeous. The style itself, actually, it was created by 2 people. One of whom is Tom Mead, and he's an illustrator, and the game itself is based on his watercolor paintings. But to listeners who can't see it, a good comparison of the look of the game itself as a whole is, you could probably compare it to Gris, but without those kind of beautiful colors as you progress through the game. It's just has these kind of dark, scratchy creatures, and some of it actually looks quite steampunk as well. It seems as if the world that you're in could potentially have been the world as we know now. It's just completely sunken. But there's no music. All you can hear is the characters breathing throughout. And I should say at this point that your main character is a deep sea diver, and you're wearing this incredibly old style kind of diver's helmet. Again, really steampunk looking.
Yeah.
The beginning of the game starts with your character, and you're kind of chained to the floor. You're just kind of floating there, and as soon as you discover your characters, you just have the one ability, and that's that you're able to take over the local kind of sea life. So you can take over the bodies of sea creatures, and they themselves have individual abilities that kind of help you maneuver through the game's puzzles. It is kind of a puzzle platformer, basically. There's no dialogue at all. There's actually very little in the way of lore, other than kind of the background imagery you can see. But the story itself is often quite cryptic and ambiguous, and even the ending, it's kind of left up to you to decide.
Like Limbo and Inside.
It's exactly like Limbo. Yeah,
Gris
that's
as well.
a really
I
good
thought
comparison.
Gris has been interpreted different ways as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, other than the visuals, or other than what
I like these little platformers, though. I fucking love them. I live for it, mate.
Yeah, it's fine. There is a very short poem at the very beginning, and that's the only text that gives you any kind of clue.
It's like a mood piece poem.
Yeah, it basically that's the only thing that gives you any kind of clue as to what your objective actually is. So you're still left to draw your own conclusions. The gameplay itself is probably where it is let down a little bit. Firstly, it is.
Why did you say that?
I know, but well, I'll come back to that, because actually, it's not really the gameplay. I think is secondary. I think it's kind of a trip through the artist's mind. But anyway, as I said, it's a really short game. It took me about 3 hours, but that was from not knowing the puzzles, and I was stopping for Facebook scrolling and texting and stuff.
3 hours is good for these kind of games. Like, it took me like 2.5 hours to do Inside, and I wasn't complaining at all.
Yeah, I think if you knew what you did, if you played through it before, you're probably looking at about an hour. The puzzle, well, maybe a bit more for completionist, but that's always the case. The puzzles
Don't get that platinum.
Yeah, the puzzles themselves are relatively simple. There are a few moments where I was kind of left scratching my head, mainly because it's sometimes a little bit difficult to tell what's in the background and what's actually a movable object, what objects you can sort of manipulate. So that's a bit hard to distinguish sometimes. But like I said, the gameplay is, with this game, the gameplay is kind of secondary. It's just a trip through this artist's mind and everything. And that one is available on all main platforms at the moment. So that was fun. That was a good couple of days, couple of evenings. Oh, it is basically, if you've got claustrophobia, just don't. Because
is it on Stadia?
Not Stadia.
She said all good platforms.
All good. All the main ones. All the main ones.
Stadia's best.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's true, is it?
I've never even used it ever. Not once.
So that was fun. A couple of nights. The main thing I did, I went to see a film called Men. And
I like the trailer of this.
What? Men?
Men.
Are you sure it was a film or not a club?
No, I've been to plenty of those clubs. But no, it definitely was a film.
Okay, Men.
I don't really know where to start with this one. Has anyone heard anything?
Talk about Men.
I've seen the trailer. I have listened to certain reviews. Some favourable, some not. Some say the last 20 minutes is where it just goes.
I've heard the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, let me fill you in. So,
oh
no! Oh God, I'm going to fill my man in.
Tiger. Oh.
So basically, it's
only one way to enter a man, and that's through his penis.
Oh no! And then you explode out of it. It's
disgusting. Not the only way.
Anyway. So it's an ethereal horror from writer and director Alex Garland, who we know from several other projects such as Ex Machina, Annihilation, Devs.
Love the man.
And it's an A24 film as well, so that's the company. So if you're a film buff,
hoity-toity film.
Yeah, you're probably, if you're clued up, you know where this is going. It's the kind of like art housey type film. And this is a bit of a step away from his usual sci-fi genre. So this is going to be minor spoilers for the beginning of the film, but I'm going to have to sort of say it for context. Men stars Jessie Buckley as Harper, who has recently become free from a abusive marriage after the death of her husband, who she witnesses falling to his death in what appears to be a suicide. So yeah, it's a bit of a trigger warning. It does deal with some quite disturbing imagery and quite a horrible subject matter right from the start. So she's taken herself off to, it's basically an Airbnb she's rented in the countryside to do a bit of soul searching and try and heal from the trauma her relationship and the violent end. She's greeted by Jeffrey, who's the landlord, played by Rory Kinnear. And he seems sort of quite a pleasant fellow, if not, he's a little bit sort of over-familiar. But
is he Greg Kinnear's son?
I don't know.
I think he might be, because I think he looks a bit like him.
Yeah, Greg Kinnear's good.
Yeah.
So if it's his son,
It
might not be, but
oh
is.
God, no! Like Rory Kinnear's like about the same age as
Is he
him.
old?
He's British.
Oh, is he right?
He's British.
Brothers, maybe.
They're not related.
Greg Kinnear's 58, Rory Kinnear's 44. So yeah, there's.
So that's definitely his son.
yeah, for sure.
It's just a name that you don't hear very often. That's all.
No, he's a British stage actor, turned like film TV star every now and again.
Right, fair enough.
Nice. But yeah, anyway, so Jeffrey, a little bit over-familiar. She kind of settles in, calls a female friend, just to say about the house, and mentions that Jeffrey is a very specific type. And it's quite important that she says that, because it's a theme that kind of keeps presenting itself as you meet the various characters that live in the village. So during a walk in the nearby forest, Harper comes across this homeless man who then seemingly kind of stalks her back to the house. And from there, we're introduced to a number of the local characters, all but one, I think, being men. And they're all played by Rory Kinnear, which you would have also seen in the trailer. But I'll go back to the part where Harper describes Jeffrey as being a specific type. All the men in this village can be described in the same way. They all carry a specific type of what you could probably call toxic masculinity. You've got Jeffrey, who sees himself as a sort of knight in shining armour saving the damsel in distress, a sexually repressed vicar, police officer who's just completely ambivalent to how distressed Harper is after her experience with this homeless man in the forest and the events that follow that. So without, I'm not going to go any more into the story, but that's basically what happens within the first sort of 20 minutes. That's the sort of setup. And now
I'm in. I think I'm in.
Well, let me carry on, because you might not be.
Oh no. Oh no.
I was in by the trailer and until I heard people talk.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. 2/3 of this film is tense and gripping, and I was really enjoying where the plot was going and the elements of it kind of being open to interpretation again. Now the third act and the final scene, as we mentioned, is where it kind of lost me. And yeah, you've all maybe heard that the final scene, it goes a little bit fuck.
Yeah, I don't know what happens. I've just heard that it kind
I don't know what happens, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to tell you, but it is getting talked about quite a lot in terms of just how far it goes. It's potentially one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever seen in the cinema.
Wow.
Like it goes from being a thriller to just a straight up body horror. And in my opinion, it's kind of just shocking for the sake of being shocking. Like, I understand the message, but it just absolutely, like, it was bad to begin with, and then it just outstayed its welcome, and it just went far too far. That you don't need to hammer the point home quite that much. It was just being disgusting for disgusting's sake. And I do think that
shame.
I think Alex Garland has a little bit of a tendency to lose control towards the end of his films. Like, it was the same in Annihilation.
Yeah, he does. It does. Yeah, he does. He generally, like, you know his cinematography style and that. It's always front loaded for me, and then the back half always like a man in a silhouette. Oh, someone being chased. Oh, it always seems to be that.
Yeah.
But I always like his starts. I always like how he puts a film across. I don't think he's ever done a bad film, but
I mean, I didn't enjoy Ex Machina that much, but everything else, I think
I did.
I loved it. It was Annihilation.
I did. I really liked it.
I think maybe I need to go back to it, knowing more his style. I think, but yeah, it's the same in Annihilation when the final scene just gets a little bit too kind of wiggity whack. But this is just.
He couldn't do too much on Annihilation, though, could he? Because it's based on a book. Couldn't do too much.
Did he not write that book though? I thought he wrote Annihilation.
I don't know. Did he?
I think he wrote Annihilation.
Did he? All right.
Because he is an author as well as a director.
I don't know if he's. I've only seen Annihilation once, but I didn't come back from Annihilation thinking, oh, I didn't like that ending. I just remember the beginning being better.
Yeah, I agree. Like the
same with all his films, I think.
The ending was just a bit like it just goes a bit out of control, I think.
So just without you obviously
that's
reveal
that
anything,
way to
who do you
explain
think this movie's aimed at? Because I thought the title was obviously quite important, I guess, for that as well. Is it aimed the story, the message that they're trying to get across in certain movies, and who is this film for? Is it a commentary on men? Is it aimed at women's opinions?
Yeah, it's a commentary on men.
It's commentary on how men are bad by a man. That's not very good, is it?
Well, it does kind of miss the mark a little bit in terms of representing the daily, like just what women do have to go through a little bit. And I think maybe going to the country was a little bit of a strange move, because it's in cities and stuff where I feel like I have to go that extra half mile to take the
more precautions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just take the lit path home, and that kind of thing. In the country, you're just kind of there by yourself, and so it's. I think probably it was well intentioned, but missed the mark a little bit. But it's as a man, you haven't had to live through that kind of thing, and it's not like a woe is me, I'm a woman kind of thing. But you do just have to take a little bit of extra care.
Absolutely.
And it's just it's being sensible.
You shouldn't have to, but you do.
Of course, yeah.
You shouldn't have to, but you do.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, sorry. So going back to the ending, and in terms of his endings going a bit out of control, this is just on a completely different level entirely, and it did kind of spoil my enjoyment of the rest of the film, I think. But story,
is it one of them where you walk out and you're just like, why did you do that?
Yeah,
that kind of
exactly.
Thing. I've come out of films with going, fuck, that last 20 minutes, why?
That's exactly it. I've never felt physically sick in a cinema before, unless it's it's motion sickness. Top Gun came a bit close, but that was a different kind of sick.
Sick as fuck, bro.
Just too much cruise.
No, it wasn't that kind of sick.
Yeah.
But in story aside, the cinematics are stunning as ever. Just we always expect that from an
lots of silhouettes.
Film. Yeah, lots of. There was quite a lot of silhouettes actually.
Yeah, he loves the silhouette. That man.
The soundtrack is really effective. It's actually used quite sparingly, and to good effect. In particular, there's one scene, and its use of echoes to create this kind of haunting melody is just really good. It actually sounds like the Akira soundtrack in some bits. You just got the kind of voices all over the place. It's a little bit like that.
Now you got me.
Visually, the use of oversaturated colours to convey emotion, and makes you feel as if you're watching kind of a moving piece of art as well sometimes. Jesse Buckley plays a role well, but it's Rory Kinnear. He's the standout for me. He plays multiple characters, all loathsome.
Greg Kinnear's son.
That's right, yeah.
Official.
But they're all just completely loathsome, but in different ways. There's one character he plays, the CGI is a little bit off, and I don't know whether that's an intentional thing or if it's just quite bad. And that was a little bit jarring. But that aside, if you do like A24 films and Alex Garland films, you'll probably enjoy it, I think. I don't think it's his strongest. I personally enjoyed Annihilation much more, and I wonder if it is because it's his first step away from sci-fi. I think it's going to be a fairly difficult film to digest for the casual cinema goer. Especially,
we're not going to do a spoiler cast on it, are we?
No. I don't want to think about it again, to be quite honest.
No. See, you're putting me off, really, when you say stuff. I get really affected by it.
No, Annihilation. I was trying to think
if you're
what
expecting a traditional horror,
that's really good.
But it's definitely more of an art house piece. And the final thing I've just done, and I don't know if you want to, we'll probably chat about this in the green room, but I've just watched the Xbox and Bethesda showcase.
Ooh.
Who else watched it?
Haven't we all? Yeah, I have, yes.
I'm feeling a little bit deflated over Starfield, guys. This was going to be my reveal of the century.
I'm fucking pumped for it, mate. I'm pumped.
It's just almost cut and paste too much. And don't get me wrong, I love Fallout, but I wanted something radically different.
This is the person that's bought Skyrim 17 times. I don't want the same game
I didn't say
again.
It was like fucking Skyrim.
But that's what Fallout's like, Skyrim.
No, it's not. Fallout's not Skyrim. But it's just...
Skyrim's good.
Certainly the bits where you're on land, it seemed like Fallout. The space travel piqued my interest. But We'll see. I just can't help but feel just a little bit meh about it. There were a couple of...
Do you reckon it's going to be another cyberpunk scenario where you get pumped and then you get there and it's like, oh no, this is not good?
I've been trying to manage my expectations because especially in recent years, but
now.
God, the frame rate was all over the place as well. Like, I can understand...
Oh, that was choppy as fuck.
I can understand why it's been delayed. Like, I was talking to Gadget actually as we were watching it, and we have concerns. Not good.
Delay it for another 2 years. Fuck it. Make sure it's ready.
I don't think they can they? Because it's been so long since when it was Fallout 4.
Investors!
It's been about 7 years since Fallout 4, I think. And then, I mean, can you even count Fallout 76 as their last release?
Are they not going to do Fallout 77 or anything like that? Come on.
I mean, they've got DLC. that game ain't going to die.
And Starfield coming out now.
A couple of other highlights. What's coming out?
Starfield due out now? What did they say?
Next year, within 12 months.
First half of next year, so it could potentially be a year away. But, you know...
I want Stig's correct prediction now. Is Starfield coming out next year, Stig?
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, he's usually correct with these things.
Stig has spoken.
So get ready.
Other couple of highlights. Redfall looked a bit more exciting than I thought before. Hollow Knight 2, or is it a DLC or is it a sequel?
Silk Song. It's not called Hollow Knight 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If they've taken this long to do
Fucking hell.
DLC, then I'd be disappointed. No, it's a full on.
Anyway, the next Hollow Knight and the last case of
It's a prequel.
Benedict Fox looks cool too.
The Benedict Fox. Yeah, I really like the look of that.
Looks cool, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
It did look good.
Probably chat more about it in the green room unless anyone else has anything to add now.
Yeah, we'll come back to Xbox. If you want your gaming chat, guys, subscribe to our Patreon, you type bastards. Because that's where all the good stuff is. Trust me, it's 7 hours worth after this. We do 7 hours in green room.
Show us the money.
You're all missing.
We only just finished last week's about 2 hours ago. I'm exhausted.
Only just finished. So let's move on to the main topic. Biggie, I think you're helming this, aren't you?
Hey, was it worth it? Seriously?
I don't know. Was
we'll
it?
find out. So basically, we're going to be talking about sequels, prequels to something fantastic. Was it worth that time and effort? Did it add anything to the story? Did it keep up with the quality of the original? Is it an Empire Strike Back or is it The Last Jedi? We will find out. And so, yeah.
People love The Last Jedi, you know.
I like The Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker's fuck shit. Just the trilogy in general. Was it worth it? No.
No.
So I'll quickly take this off. So, yeah, basically the one I wanted to talk about was Jaws. So, thanks to Jaws, I still have a fear of open water, particularly obviously when you're out and about. I've been to foreign countries, as you know, and I've swam in many an ocean, and I've always had a bit of a fear whilst I'm in that water because Jaws was frightening, man. Assuming that most people have seen it, but if they haven't, it's back in '75 that Steven Spielberg basically launched probably the film that started off his career, I would say. I know he did Jaws, which is fantastic.
It's the first film that was called the Summer Blockbuster.
And it was based on a novel by Peter Benchley. In the film, it's basically a man-eating great white shark attacks beachgoers at a summer resort town. And the local police chief, Martin Brody, has to hunt it down with the help of a marine biologist and a professional shark hunter. He tries to warn the town, but the local mayor doesn't listen to him, and, chaos ensues. Considering it was a troubled shoot, obviously they're not using real sharks, so the shark that they did use was mechanical. I think it was called Bruce or something, if I remember right. They had lots of issues because obviously this mechanical beast being used in the water tended to fail half the time. But throughout the movie, and it works in its favour, very similar to like Aliens, you very rarely see the shark until near the end of the movie. And I think it worked better for that. And yeah, Jaws fucked a lot of people up because of the sheer fear of being in open water when swimming. That you're probably even in water that isn't going to ever have sharks in it. I still had that fear. Frightening. It just.
So when you first saw Jaws in 75?
It came out in 75. I saw it as a kid.
Yeah.
So when you were 21, when it first came out, Did it stop you going swimming?
didn't.
Then, yeah. I just want.
But no, but genuinely, I don't know if it's affected you guys at all, but I just have that fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking.
I get scared in the bath sometimes.
What, in case there's a shark?
In case they open the shark trap door or something. Especially when I got a bath bomb in and the water's all dark. Fuck that. No.
I remember going to swimming baths in Barnsley where they have, the wave pools, and they unleash that big cage underneath. If you look underneath with your goggles on, that big cage where all waves come. I used to think they were fucking bringing sharks out. I used to shit myself.
I never saw Jaws till 2018. So never.
What did you think?
Yeah. That's fantastic. It's a masterpiece.
No, I'm interested in seeing it like
really
only so few years ago. Does it still have that sort of impact? Does it still work?
Oh yeah, definitely. The problem is, and I think you're going to touch on this as well now, is just like Jurassic Park, Spielberg nailed shark films, so everything that's coming after it is just
never going to be as good.
Yeah, can't follow it.
And that is exactly the point. Yeah. This was perfect. And funny enough, just a little bit of trivia, the novelist Peter Benchley was so appalled by the fact that the impacts of his book and the film had on people, he actually turned into a bit of a conservationist and supported the sort of the looking after sharks and other marine life because he felt so bad.
There was a problem in the 70s where in Australia, I remember watching a documentary about Jaws and its impact, and there were people going out hunting sharks just because they were scared so much. It's like, before they come on land and get us, they'll grow legs soon and they'll be after us. It's like, fuck off. That's the apex predator. It's this perfect organism, isn't it?
So disappointingly,
fuck you up.
The success of Jaws led to 3 sequels, and the films altogether have earned nearly 800 million worldwide box office gross. And the franchise itself has had parodies, its albums, novels, trading cards, theme park rides, and Universal Studios Florida games. There's even a musical that premiered in 2004. I mean, it's had everything. Not quite sure how they pulled that off, but
a musical. I am Jaws, and I'm going to bite you. A man running around with a fin on his
obviously, you have to give a special mention to
we're going to need a bigger boat.
The soundtrack as well. That dun dun dun. It's just incredible. Just so basic and simple. I'm not saying it was obviously simple to create, but just the simplicity of that is just incredible. It's absolutely.
It's the horns when they creep in as well. Oh, it's so fucking.
So then, yeah, Jaws.
It's probably one. It's like a masterpiece of suspense, isn't it?
I do mean to watch it again. I've seen it loads of times, but
I watched it a few years back, and I was just like, "Fuck, this film's good."
But Jaws 2 was the most expensive film at the time that Universal had produced, and it cost the studio 30 million back in the day. Opened at the same weekend as Grease. Just a very similar kind of plot. That it was another shark appeared in the same place.
To Grease.
But yeah, there's a very similar plot. Another shark turned up in the same town. The police chief was obviously trying to do his best to get rid of the shark and blah, 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 blah. But it was fine as a movie. It had its own bit of suspense. And out of all the sequels, it's the best. But again, it can't touch the original.
Yeah, low bar.
So I think somebody, one of the critics said Jaws 2 never approaches the lingering thrills of its classic predecessor, but it's reasonably entertaining for a sequel that has no reason to exist. So it just wasn't needed. Jaws itself was a perfect film. It didn't have like an open ending or anything like that. It was just literally done.
Spielberg didn't direct the sequel.
He wasn't involved at all.
Oh god, no. Still,
I think he was in a producer role.
It starred Roy
Schneider came back for it.
Still,
and he was fantastic.
Yeah, he did.
Rob Schneider's dad.
Oh, sorry, he was fantastic in the first movie, and again, he was absolutely fine in the second. But then Jaws 3D. Now, this came out.
I've seen this one.
I've seen.
Can you imagine that I've seen this film before I saw Jaws?
What? That is fucking batshit.
Because she randomly watched it on what it was like late on TV one night when I was a kid. It's all.
When you watch it on a normal telly, Jaws 3D looks fucking stupid.
Exactly.
So stupid.
And the film follows the Brody children, so that this family clearly completely so unlucky because, as from the previous films, they went to SeaWorld.
Just move to the desert for
the
fuck's
Florida
sake.
Marine Park with underwater tunnels and lagoons, and as the park prepares for an opening, a young great white shark infiltrates the park from the sea and starts attacking the park employees. And then it turns out there's another shark, even larger, was the actual one killing people. So they even were trying to hunt down the wrong shark. The film made use of 3D glasses. They were those weird bendy cardboard ones, you know, that were really disposable. Very famous. Yeah,
the
red
yeah,
ones
blue
that
and
you saw
red.
in like Back to the Future and stuff like that. It was Gremlins.
You got them out of Rice Krispie packets.
There was, I think, Friday the 13th Part 3 in Amityville was sort of trying to utilise this, you know, big revived interest. They were shite. It obviously, as Oodle said, the 3D was completely ineffective on home viewing. So it just looked really weird on TV.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything to adjust it.
Really
nothing
odd.
to adjust it for home viewing. It's still fucking
So
3D.
even though it had overwhelmingly
So weird.
negative reviews, it could only get worse after it was followed by Jaws: The Revenge in 1987.
This is the best one.
Well, there's a shark in the water.
So, Jaws: The Revenge is a 1987
It's got your best mate in it.
American horror film, produced and directed by Joseph Sargent. It's a direct sequel to Jaws 2, so it completely ignored what happened in Jaws 3. And the wife of the police officer, played by Roy Schneider, reprised her role because he just randomly died of a heart attack for some reason. It also stars Mario Van Peebles and obviously, famously, Michael Caine. The film focuses on her, and she's convinced that a great white shark is seeking revenge on the family. When it kills her son,
it's angry.
It's not the
It's an
same
angry shark.
So how would it even know? It's just mental. There's no logic.
This shark is
There's
the same
no
shark,
logic
mate.
to this at all.
It's got scars.
I love it. It's like a vengeful shark returns to avenge the death of her prodigy. Like the shark knows that I sent that shark out to Amity, and they killed it, so I'm taking my revenge.
Yeah, if you want to get really into nitty-gritty science and stuff, once sharks have a baby, they don't see that baby ever again.
No, they send them out to terrorize beaches.
Yeah.
And then when they don't report back, they send out the soldiers.
Yeah, they're not mammals. They don't live in a pride of sharks. They just fucking fuck off. The predators.
What do you think a group of sharks would be called? Like a bite of sharks.
It's a
something?
school.
Oh yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Is it?
School of
Oh yeah, the
sharks,
fish, aren't they?
The fish.
I don't like that. That's
Yeah.
Not
boring as
only,
fuck.
you should go and watch the trailer for this movie because right at the end you get Mr. Voiceover, you know, the famous guy that did all those trailers, and he goes at the end, this time,
Just when you thought it was safe,
he comes up with
back in the
this time
water.
it's personal.
It's by the way, I just did a quick look up. It's called a shiver of
Oh,
sharks.
shiver of
Oh,
sharks.
see?
A shiver.
A shiver, yeah.
I honestly thought sharks don't hunt in packs. I thought they were just
No,
solitary creatures.
I think it's just when there is a group of sharks. But yeah,
When there is, it's the annual shark gathering. We're all got together.
Shark fest.
Where have you been? Oh, I've been at Bondi Beach. Oh, where have you been? I've been in Florida Keys. Oh, it's been a right year.
where's
Fucking
Bob?
Sharks,
No, he
man.
didn't return. He got killed.
Bob didn't make it. Got killed by Roy Scheider.
So,
Fucking dead.
Jaws of Revenge was made in less than 9 months. Apparently, it was the fastest a major film had been
You can tell.
executed in all the years of the production manager on the film had ever seen. In an interview, the director stated that the premise was born out of a little bit of desperation to find something fresh to do with a shark. We thought that maybe if we take a mystical point of view and go for a little bit of magic, we might be able to find something interesting to sit through.
They did.
Oh God. That's it. I know.
Shark magic.
Mark Commode always tells the story about how Michael Caine opened the script. He says we open on a beach in Barbados, and he just said, and that's when he signed up for it.
It says here,
Yeah, he went on an holiday.
Yeah, because it was a free holiday. he
it
got
says
paid
here,
for.
Kane had mixed feelings about both production and the final version. At the end of it, he said because of the history of obviously Jaws and everything like that, he thought it'd be nice to be mixed up with the legendary movies. But in the end, he said, by all accounts, it is terrible. However, I've seen the house that it built, and it's terrific.
Yeah.
And he says,
I remember that.
it will go down in my
House.
memory as the time when I won an Oscar, got paid for a house, and had a great holiday. Not bad for a flop movie.
Yeah. Michael Caine doesn't.
And it gets even worse. Folks. So on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 39 reviews. The film has an approval rating of 0%, with an average rating of 2.7 out of 10. The critical consensus reads, illogical, tension-free, and filled with cut-rate special effects. Jaws: The Revenge is a sorry chapter in a once proud franchise. And then somebody else pointed out, Roger Ebert said, it's not simply a bad movie, but also a stupid and incompetent one. He lists several elements that he finds unbelievable, which also include the fact that one of the characters, Ellen, is haunted by flashbacks to an event where she was not present.
She wasn't even there. She weren't there.
Oh, what was Spielberg?
He also said many scenes are considered implausible, such as a shark swimming from Massachusetts Island to the Bahamas in less than 3 days, and somehow knowing that the Brady family went there.
Yeah, mystical, magic shark. Best film ever made. Do you know what the fucked up thing is with all this? One of the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score ever and Open Critic scores ever. This is still someone in this world. That's their favourite film.
It is,
and that's fucked up. That's what's fucked up about it.
I think I need to watch it. I think I need to see it.
It is.
Oh, it's so bad. I remember watching it
knowing that it's bad regardless.
17, 18. I got so drunk and we watched it. And it affected me. I had a dream about it.
I just remember it being really bad.
Other than that, it's just shit.
It just doesn't have that tension of the movies. The first.
It's just
and Jaws,
terrible.
Again, like you say, a masterpiece. Jaws 2 is absolutely fine, really. Wasn't necessary, but it was absolutely fine. But everything after that is just tuna.
There's that famous scene in Jaws: The Revenge where it's memed a lot sometimes, where Michael Caine is a bit and he's just staring bluntly at the camera, which is a big no-no on films, and he's just staring because he doesn't know he's in shot. It's so fucking bad. I love it. Oh, get it watched.
Yeah, that's it for me. Watched. Moving on to let's have Oodles.
Me? Hi. Was it worth it? So, since 1982's release of the Hobbit video game, then in 1987, Lord of the Rings game on the Spectrum, fans of the world of Tolkien have been clamouring for a deep, traditional, turn-based role-playing game set in this universe. But we had to wait until 2004 for Electronic Arts to release what it claimed back then as the Final Fantasy killer. The game is, of course, The Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. Has anyone ever played this game?
Nope.
No.
So it released on PC, Xbox, PS2 and GameCube. Now, I was absolutely buzzing for this. It basically rips off the combat from Final Fantasy X to the point where the menus are identical and they had to pay royalties to Square Enix after the game released. Oh yeah, it's completely ripped off. Now, EA have always had a good relationship with Square Enix because they published a lot of their Western releases way back when. So they thought they probably could just get away with it, but no, they didn't get away with it. So this game, while starting off extremely promising to someone like me who was into it, using the tried and tested gameplay mechanics of Final Fantasy X that a lot of people know and love, it manifests into perhaps the most batshit computer game I've ever played. And I'm going to tell you why, because I know you guys are never going to play it. Now, this is available on current Xbox consoles and PC. So, spoiler alert, if you fancy playing this coming up to 20-year-old game, I don't think you ever will. So, let me set the scene for you. This is not too lengthy, but let me set the scene. So, following it, the whole game follows the plot of the films, not the books, the films. So, a newly created party of Bellathor, the Gondorian, Idriel, the elf of Lorien, Elagost, the ranger, and Hadhod, the dwarf. So, they're all very similar to a fellowship we know and love, minus a few hobbits and a wizard. So, they are tasked by Gandalf the Grey to basically follow the Fellowship from the film 10 paces behind them. So the reason being, so this game can then use scenes from the film and use that as its cutscenes. But you never see these characters in any of these CGI moments. So basically, you're tasked with following the Fellowship from Rivendell to Rohan. And you go through basically all the scenes of the film, but after the Fellowship have seen them. Do you know what I mean? So, like, one of the first big set pieces is, you know, on Fellowship of the Ring where they fight the Watcher in the water with the tentacles and stuff like that. And then they escape into the mines. You then turn up just as it collapses in the mines. Oh no, we've got to fight this squid now. We've got to fucking finish it off because it's the best thing for Middle Earth if we do this. And then there's
You're
another
the
way
B
in.
team.
So all that shit, yeah, they're the B team, the cleanup crew. All that shit that Gandalf did to try and get in, speak, friend, and enter. Mello. When he did that, there's actually another way in. So don't worry about it, Gandalf. There's another way, just further down the road. But yeah, so
Didn't follow the signpost.
Didn't follow the signpost. And then it gets fucking worse. Get ready. So then, do you know how Gandalf's fighting the Balrog of Morgoth? You shall not pass. Do you know that blinding flashlight that he does? He stops time for an instant. So Gandalf can then talk to the party, and you and Gandalf can fight the Balrog while everything else is paused. And Gandalf says, I'm gonna follow it into the depths and blah, blah, fucking blah.
So where do they go?
Eventually, you couldn't see him because of the blinding flash sting.
Yeah, but after the flash, and he jumped off, and Frodo's
Well,
looking
he
had to
down.
collapse.
Gandalf.
Yeah, the bridge collapses. The party actually go a different way out because there's another way out, guys.
Of course. Silly me.
Of course, there's a back door to the back door.
Yeah.
So eventually you get to Rowan after 25 hours of RPG, get ready, Stig, turn-based battles that random. Ooh, you love a random battle, don't you? Oh, God, it's fucked up. You get to Rowan and recruit the final party member, Morwen, and she's like a battle maiden. So there you go, you've got your 4 characters. Now, nothing is out of the ordinary with random turn-based battles across dull, unchanged lands due to not being allowed to deviate from the plot too much. So you're always, like I said, one step behind the plot. However, the game leads to Helm's Deep, which this has got to be a good moment, hasn't it? 35 hours in, we're at Helm's Deep, finally. Where the first plot twist happens. Oh my God, it's a plot twist to end all plot twists. It occurs when Bellafor, the main character, finds out he is a spy of Saruman all along. I didn't know. And he was cursed. Basically, Saruman told him to go and get the ring. Now, how does Bellafor get out of this curse? He stares up into the wind and says, "Your curse is broken!" And it is broken.
That's a top quality writing.
Absolutely. And that's it. He gets out of that curse and then onto Gondor for the Battle of Pelennor Fields. It is now revealed, and I have not typed the same thing. It's now revealed that Bellafor, the main character, is actually a spy of the Witch King of Angmar, and he is in a curse. Bellafor then shouts into the air, "Your curse is broken!" And it is broken. That happens twice in 10 hours.
Well, he knew how to do it. He saw the other guy do it.
Exactly. He knew how to do it. Then you fight the Witch King. Do you know how... what's her name that kills the Witch King in Return of the King?
Merwin.
I am no man.
Is it Merwin?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no, it's not. It's what's her
something
name?
like...
It gives me the A, doesn't it? Actually, I
Yeah.
think.
Arwen.
Arwen. Yeah. We'll get some
Yeah.
flack for this, won't we?
Oh, God.
Angela.
Coming at us. When she crumples him and he just forms into dust, doesn't he? Or crumples up and stuff. She kills him.
Of course
He
does.
resurrects when the main characters aren't looking. So you have to kill him. The Witch King then basically tells you a secret. Morwen, the last character you recruited 25 hours ago, turns out, guess what? She's the main character's wife and they don't recognise each other.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, let that soak in. Let that soak in as the third plot twist. They don't recognise each other. And then as soon as he says that, they go, You are my wife. How did I not know? They don't wear it. They've not got helmets on or anything like that. They look exactly the same. They've not got what's the thing with the memory? They haven't got that. Amnesia. Yeah, they ain't got amnesia.
Clearly, they're just cursed, and they just got to shout into the air.
So what happens is they are cursed. So it turns out they are cursed, and the only way to shout out this curse is, "We are not cursed. We break your curse," and it's broken, and they love each other. But there's a plot twist: the Witch King stabs Morwen and kills her. No, my wife that I didn't know about 5 minutes ago is dead. No, but guess what? Aragorn turns up. And you know what he does? His known power. He uses his kingly power that he's got, that everyone knows about, to resurrect her. You know that kingly power that he's got in the books and in the films? No.
And he could have used on Frodo instead of Frodo going off and dying.
Her, that he could have used on everybody. Mate, he could have used on Boromir. Someone that would, that needed it. But no. So that happens. And then the credits don't roll because something happens. Everyone's won. Do you know how Aragorn does he's got the ghost army, he kills the elephants. Yay, we have to storm the Black Gates. No, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. They rewrite the script. The party is randomly teleported to the top of the Tower of Orthanc or wherever Sauron's tower is, where his eyeball is. And they have to fight the final boss, the Eye of Sauron itself. Wow. So, you kill... Do you know what it turns out? Do you know Gandalf's plan all along was for Frodo to throw the ring into the fire of Mount Doom as a distraction so they could kill the Eye really with their swords.
I hope they got out with them before the tower collapsed.
This is the thing. So, you kill him, the Eye, everything, the ring goes into the fire, you've got the final strike, the tower collapses, and the game ends. There is no credits. The game ends and sends you straight back to the title screen. And that is Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. I was waiting decades for this type of game, and it came. So it wasn't worth the wait. Now, it's such a shame because the actual fighting's good. You just can't escape that weird, fucked up plot. Like, there's a bit in the game where, I didn't even mention this. Do you know Grima Wormtongue?
Yeah.
Guess what? He's cursed by Sauron.
Of
and
course.
He joins your party by getting out of the curse that Sauron did, by telling him that he's not cursed anymore. And you get him in your party for a little bit. You get little guest characters, like Gimli turns up. Do you know the bit when we have a cave troll? Gimli's not there, actually. He's fighting with your party outside for a little bit.
Please tell me that there was a sequel called The Fourth Age where there was a backup party that followed the second party just behind them.
No, it's just bollocks. I mean, the fucked up thing is, this game was created by Visceral, and they make good games. Or did.
Well, it was worth it for your description and your retelling of it.
They also adapted it on Game Boy Advance and basically ripped off Fire Emblem. So again, they needed to stop doing that. So I waited 10 years for this, for a really good Lord of the Rings game to come out, but it never happened. So I had to wait another 10 years for Shadow of Mordor because that was worth the wait, Shadow of Mordor. But
did you never play Return of the King or Two Towers?
I did, but
they're incredible.
They were good brawlers, weren't they? They're good brawlers, but they're not like role-playing games, are they? That's what I was waiting for, like a good role-playing game. And
okay.
God, the Third Age. It's fun for people to play just to... It's actually better to watch YouTube for all the plot twists because it's hilarious. I'm not even giving them justice because they're all actually really well voiced by really good actors and stuff like that. Like Aragorn is played by Viggo Mortensen, and he's done additional lines than he would in the films and stuff. It's just fucking, it's fucking mental. It's actually mental, and it's like based on the. If it wasn't based on the films, you can kind of do weirder things with it, can't you? Like Shadow of Mordor that's not canon, is it at all? You know what I mean? But it's a good fucking take on the actual tale.
Yeah.
But fuck me, there is the scene obviously where Gollum becomes part of your party, And Gollum's obviously cursed. We know this. He's cursed by the ring though this time. But fuck me, it was not worth it. And if you're interested in any of that batshit, play Third Age. I think it's like £3 on Xbox. Get it downloaded, get it played. It's only 50 hours long, guys.
It just shows that Gandalf's a bit of a
Give it a
dick.
miss, thanks.
The way that he treats people.
Yeah, he basically sent Sam and Frodo off as distractions. So Berefor and his little team could actually really kill the. But the most annoying thing is there's no credits, because the credits, you can just view the credits on the title screen, and the game just ends. You know, with that scene where the actual tower does crumble and Gandalf and Aragorn looking up and they go yes, and then it fades to black and they're like Berefor. So it's as if they're all cheering for Berefor.
Yeah, he never actually said for Frodo,
ends.
did he? I think we all misheard that. He said,
Yeah, exactly. But it has to cut to black for him to shout Berefor. It's fucking and it doesn't do anything. There's no new game plus or anything like that. It just straight to title screen for a new game again. Play it all again. It's fucking EA were fucking crackers back then with that game, like that film license, weren't they? They were just throwing everything to fucking wall to see if it sticks. Oh god, it's so bad.
What were the reviews for that when
recommend.
it came out in the end?
Negative.
it's about 74 on Metacritic.
Yeah, critics were different back then. They'd let anything fly, weren't they? But yeah, that's mine. Was it worth it? Not for me. Again, it's probably someone's all-time favourite game.
Amazing.
Don't know why.
Okay, then. So over to Candy.
Oh, so mine is, and Sticky can probably help me with this one, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a spin-off of the Harry Potter series in the greater wizarding world set in the 1920s. The screenplay was actually written by J.K. Rowling, but it wasn't a book or a series of books first. It was literally just written straight for film. It follows the story of the rise of Grindelwald, who was considered the most evil wizard prior to Voldemort, and his intentions were to exterminate or enslave the Muggles, basically. And the link to Harry Potter is that the title of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them comes from a textbook from the first Harry Potter book, and it's written by Newt Scamander, who's the main character of the series, although he doesn't actually seem to have a massive role to play in what happens. So does it add anything to the Harry Potter franchise? In my opinion, no. I think had it been written as a series of books, potentially it could have been a valuable part of Wizarding World lore, but I mean, there's no denying that J.K. Rowling wrote an incredible series of books in Harry Potter. So she is a good author, but she just hasn't reached that standard with her screenwriting, or the skills don't transfer particularly well. In fact, I think for like the first film, it was just her writing it. The second film, they brought in additional screenwriters to help. Didn't help.
Has she just, when it comes to books, has she just done the Harry Potter ones, or is there more to the Harry Potter ones after the last one?
I mean, she's written books under nothing to do with Harry Potter, under a different author's name, Robert Galbraith, but I don't think she's written... I mean, she may have actually written Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but as the actual textbook. I think
she has.
There was a lot released on Pottermore, wasn't there?
Yeah.
On the website.
She's done like those and like Quidditch books and stuff, kind of like side textbooks and stuff that don't really add anything to the story.
Like Tolkien did he did that with a lot of his.
Yeah, but adds a bit of lore to creatures and games and the world.
Silmarillion, that's one.
Yeah. I mean, there are sort of moments of magic throughout the series that you can tell are unmistakably came from her mind, but the overall story... The overall story, it's just isn't there, and what is there just isn't interesting. There is quite a large cast, many of who are completely forgettable, and again, it's more the point is their intentions aren't actually clear. And where in a book you'd have time to explain them or fully flesh out their characters and motives, you're just limited by the times by the time of the film, basically. And most of what occurred with Grindelwald was already covered in the Harry Potter books anyway. So we know that Dumbledore and Grindelwald were in love. Oh, actually, that came out later. It was insinuated in the books that they were together, but it was never actually said. And then she said after the books came out that yes, they were couple. But we know that they had a fight when Dumbledore realised the extent of Grindelwald's intentions. We already know that as a result, Ariana, Dumbledore's sister, was killed in the incident.
Do we?
Yes, we do.
If you read the books, you do. Yeah. This is not much. This is in the film, but
That's what I mean.
I haven't seen the last Harry Potter film.
Well, you should.
Stiggy hasn't read the books, according to the Mastermind Quiff.
shit questions.
But yeah, like Stig said, Fantastic Beasts is kind of set after all of this happens, so we're sort of stuck in a kind of no man's land of a time period, and the story is essentially a story of politics. There's even one line in the last film that mirrors the Brexit situation exactly. Like, it's assumed that by higher powers that no one would vote for Grindelwald. However, they decide to put the vote in so people feel like they've had the
magic great again.
That's
anyway,
pretty much Grindelwald's.
That's
pretty much what Grindelwald wants to do.
Is that what he wanted?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Wants to wipe out Muggles.
Grindel Trump, did you say?
I'm a Muggle. That's not.
You're
that's
a sex
not
Muggle.
Fucking on. Sex Muggle. Oh God.
But yeah, they've just decided to take on a part of wizarding history that's just boring as mud. And always with prequels as well, it suffers from, like any Harry Potter fan, you know the outcome, you know what's going to happen to all the characters, and it hasn't helped. I mean, the films as well, it hasn't really helped that Grindelwald's now been played by 3 different actors, like Johnny Depp obviously.
What?
Got sacked famously for accusations about what was happening in his personal life, and a handful of...
Is Johnny Depp were in it?
Yeah, he was Grindelwald. He was the Grindelwald out of the Grindelwald saga. And yeah, a handful of
Who else played it?
So the first one was oh God, what's his name?
Technically, technically it was Johnny Depp, but disguised as Colin Farrell. So he wasn't playing.
I don't even understand why
he
that
wasn't
was a
playing Grindelwald. He was playing someone else. Grindelwald was disguised.
wasn't it?
Yeah, Grindelwald was disguised himself as someone else.
That wasn't his true form.
No, and then he transformed into Johnny Depp at the end of the first film. Then he played him in the second film. Then he got sacked, and they brought in Mads Mikkelsen, who is better. Who would have been better if they just put him from the start.
I can't understand why they didn't, because he's perfectly cast for Grindelwald. He even has the accent. I think he just wasn't interested in playing him at the time, was he? I think that was the case. But I mean,
a few more dump trucks of money.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I mean. It's just such an obvious cash grab. Like,
how many Grindel films is there then?
Well, at the moment there's 3 Grindel films, and
I don't know what they're called. I've not even. I know they exist, but barely. I'm sorry.
I think. I mean, Stig, have you seen the last film?
I've seen all 3. Yeah.
So I mean, I think
you love some.
It could potentially end here. I thought the original plan was to make 5.
It is.
Is that still happening?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Are they making money?
No.
They keep
I mean,
losing.
yeah, they are.
Yes, but less and less each time.
Like, my kids absolutely love Harry Potter films. They don't know these films exist.
Nah, Amelia doesn't care.
There's just nothing to care about. It's just.
I think she watched the first one and then wasn't bothered about the second one.
Because
there's no Harry in it.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
And they're so weirdly paced as well. Like, the first one kind of ticks along at the kind of rate you would think. The second one, there's a whole load of shit that's dumped in there. And then the third one's quite slow again. So it's kind of hard to keep up. Like, there was a lot of different plots going on in the second film, none of which really go anywhere interesting.
Hang on. Is this the one... I might be wrong here. I might get laughed out of the room. Is this the one with Jude Law as Dumbledore?
Yeah.
He's good Dumbledore, though, to be fair.
No, I'm not saying he's bad. I remember seeing pictures of him as Dumbledore. Like a Youngledore.
Dumbledaddy.
Dumbledaddy.
They just fuck around with things too much. Like for some reason, despite the fact that she was at Hogwarts, like at this time as a child, now Minerva McGonagall's a teacher. And it's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. I know
that's right.
An old witch in the films, but in the books, like canonically, she's born around at the school at this time. Like,
when's this set?
The latest one is 1927. I looked it up, and Minerva McGonagall's about 80.
When does Harry Potter set?
90s, mid-90s.
Actually, I think she was born in this. Yeah, but McGonagall's meant to be born in the 30s or somewhere around there. I think. Like, it's
yeah.
So why is she in
well,
it?
Exactly. It's law breaking as well.
Yeah.
And there's all this focus on, you can't repress your magic as a child because you'll become an obscurial or whatever it is. It is an obscurial.
That's true. That's what happened to his sister.
I know that's what happened to the sister, but they had no, if a student got kicked out of Hogwarts, they'd snap their wand, and they couldn't do magic
following
anymore.
this, Biggie? You following it, mate?
I've not seen any.
No,
Well, I've seen half of Harry Potter
it's
one.
just-
That's it.
I don't see a problem with them trying to do extended Wizarding World films. It makes sense. Harry Potter's finished.
Why don't they just do older Harry Potter?
Don't
Because-
tempt them.
That'll come when they're of age.
They are
Anyway.
though. They're getting really close.
Yeah, they are. This kind of does make sense. But you've got to make a decision on what your film wants to be. Is it a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them film? If it is, right, it should be a kind of Indiana Jones romp film with Newt Scamander traveling around the world, battling against a bad guy, with all these, creatures, weird
I'm up for
creatures,
that.
and going to, locations around the world. That's what it's either that or it's the Dumbledore Grindelwald story, which is perfectly fine, and you can tell that, but
But a different thing.
it doesn't need to mix them both, and it doesn't need to be a geopolitical drama.
Right.
It's meant to be
Do you
a
think
kids'
they've done,
film.
Do you think they've done this? They might have done this because the first one didn't break bank. You know what I mean? The first one didn't catch on, so right, no one's bothered about Newt Scamander. Let's get on with
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
Possibly,
God, it's fucking difficult.
but
But you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
don't you? They
but
might
why
thought-
did they just?
people like Dumbledore? They like.
I mean,
him.
I think
They
that
love
the
him.
first one did do pretty well, and they've just kind of declined in terms of like box office takings. It's just got worse and worse.
No, but the first one does. No, but the first one ends with Grindelwald being captured and revealed, so they clearly had a plan that they wanted to use Grindelwald going forward. It wasn't like it was a self-contained film, and then they go, "Oh, hang on, let's tack this on." They obviously had a plan. It's just a shit plan.
Mm.
And there's a thing, and this might be me nitpicking because I've never watched them, but like the Harry Potter films and books are called Harry Potter and something something. This is called Fantastical Beasts
Fantastic
and Where
Beasts
to
and Where
Find
to
Them.
Find Them, yeah. And it's not about Fantastic
And then it
Beasts.
is no, but and then there look at a subtitle after that as well.
So the most recent one was The Secrets of Dumbledore.
So Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them: The Secrets of Dumbledore is too fucking long for a kid
Yeah,
to go and
the
see
previous
that.
one
It's too fucking
was
long.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I can't
It's
even remember
too
what the
it's
first
too
one was
long.
called.
It's too long a title. That's why that's not selling. They should call it Fantastic Beasts.
One.
Fantastic Beasts.
Not only that,
Two.
there wasn't really many crimes of Grindelwald in the film. It really
No, not really.
There you
All
go.
Fantastic Beasts.
No, he kills a baby.
What I'd
That's
do
about
if
it.
I was making it, and I'm not good at making things, I'd be like a bit like Stig says, it's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The first 20 minutes of the first one, he goes to Peru, he finds a fantastic beast. Next one, he's off to Germany, he finds another fantastic
Been like
beast.
Monster
He's
Hunter.
basically Pokemon in the whole
Yeah.
thing.
It
He's Monster
should have
hunting, he's
been
getting them all.
basically the adventures of his textbook.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've written my adventures down in this textbook. Here they
Yeah.
are on screen. That's
Or
what
they
it
should
should
have
have
made-
They could have done it. They could have.
Or called the series Crimes
If
of
they wanted to
Grindelwald.
like get the kids into it as well, they could have had the opening beginning of the first film and the end, and as Harry Potter is reading it to his son. This is my favourite book. This Harold or whatever he calls his son. This is my favourite book. It's called Fantastic Beasts. And then you got Daniel Radcliffe at the beginning. You can put him on a poster and then fuck him off for a still film and then bring him back to end. And that's that book. Next time on the next film, we'll continue this story.
Yeah.
That's how they should have done it. Like Princess Bride. Fucking, I've nailed it.
I also think
He's a
I
call,
also,
Hollywood.
I also think that Eddie Redmayne's character Newt is just shit. It's just a really awkward
It's a shame that 'cause he's
social
usually good, isn't
outcast. It's just not the kind of person you want to watch going on romping adventures.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
Let me guess, he's super nerdy as
oh
well.
yeah,
Yeah, super
Just
nerdy, really awkward,
awkward.
He's got a name.
bumbling.
He's got a name like a nerd. Nerd Scaramanga. Fucking nerd. Fucking nerd. Was it worth it, Candy?
Absolutely not.
Was it needed? No.
Brilliant. So I am looking forward to this one, judging by unless Stiggy's changed his mind on his topic. So go for it, Stiggy.
I haven't changed my mind. Unlike you negative Nancy's, I'm actually going to be positive.
Third Age is worth playing just for
I'm actually going to be positive about mine and say that it was needed. So I want to talk about The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
A game that came out 2 years ago, sequel to 2013's The Last of Us, which ended perfectly. And when this was announced...
I think it's got my best game ending ever. That.
When this game was announced, so many people said, what's the point? The story was perfect. It ended. It didn't need it. We didn't need more. What's the point in doing this? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to make this work? It's going to be shit. All wrong, in my opinion, because it's fucking fantastic. Now, what you may think about the gameplays of these games, I know some people have their issues with how the game actually plays and some of the repetitiveness of stuff. I'm not really going to talk about that. Personally, I kind of like those games. I like third-person games like that. But it's narratively speaking I want to talk about because...
Shall we put a little spoiler warning here?
Yeah, I'm going to put a spoiler warning in when I do the edit. I'm going to put I'll let people know because it's one of those games that I respect the spoilers and I respect that
Absolutely.
It's only been 2 years and some people haven't got around to playing this.
We've all played it here, haven't we?
I haven't, but I don't mind it being spoiled. Well, no, that's not true. I played
yeah.
the first...
Ooh.
I played maybe 3-4 hours. And I'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay.
But you've played it, Biggie, haven't you?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah, and you have, yeah. I know you have.
Played everything.
Hello, Stig here in the edit. I'm about to talk about The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, and there is going to be a lot of spoilerific chat around both those games, specifically The Last of Us 2. So if you haven't played those and you want to, then skip ahead about 14 minutes. You have been warned. First game ends with Joel breaking Ellie out of a hospital, and after it was revealed that in order for them to get the antidote basically from her blood, she's going to die. Joel, having spent this time with Ellie, has become so attached to her after losing his daughter. He doesn't want to lose another daughter. Breaks her out of the hospital while killing a load of the fireflies, and at the end lies to her. And you are given this moment, this look from her, and it's left to you as the audience. Does she believe him or doesn't she?
Does she know?
You don't know. Yeah. The look is kind of ambiguous. It could mean either. And that's the end, and it's beautiful and perfect. And then
the intro to that game and the ending are just perfect.
Yes.
Spellbinding, aren't they?
So when it comes to a second one, well, what the fuck can they do? They're just going to ruin the story. They're going to ruin that beautiful ending. And for me, they don't. And you start this game with Joel. In the first few hours, Joel's killed by the fireflies.
What?
For
fuck's sake.
Revenge on what he did in the hospital. And you then take on the mantle as Ellie, and now it becomes her revenge mission to get revenge on the people who killed Joel. And the game, it does everything to make you side with Ellie. You just fucking, you bastards, as if you've just killed him. Like, the way he's killed is brutal. I believe this is Candy the reason you turned it off.
It's not just brutal, it's fast.
Yeah.
Without any swan song. And that's the it shakes. I was physically shook.
Yeah, he doesn't go out in a gunfight and a battle. He's just
not a heroic end, nothing.
No, not at all.
One round of golf, that's all it took.
And why did that stop you playing the game?
To me, it was just too...
You don't want to play as a woman.
Exactly. No, it's just too gratuitous. It just... Because that wasn't the moment that I stopped playing. I carried on playing for about an hour and a half, 2 hours after that.
Because that's an hour. That's about 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, and I got to I did the bit. You get on the horse and then you start to break into the city wall. So I got to about there, and I just couldn't get over it. Like, I know Joel's not a good. He's not a good person, but he's not a bad person either. He's just a person, and it's 40-50 hours of building up a relationship with this person in the first game. And growing to love them, and it's just it was too real, it was too visceral, it was too shocking to me to be able to get over that hump. And I
I think it's the single most bravest thing game devs have done ever.
I agree, and I do wish I could get
I think
over
it's
it.
super brave.
Yeah, it's such. I think it did need to happen. It did need to happen in the way it did, but I personally just could not get over it. And I'm sure there's probably other players, and that's not to say that's a bad thing. They've obviously done what they intended to do well, and it is going to put some players off.
The way you've reasoned it is not how Twitter militants reasoned it. They reasoned it like, I like to play as a man. Oh, I can't believe that she's so strong. Oh, I can't. This, that. It's just bollocks. They've took my man away from me.
Well, you're not playing as a man. You're playing as a collection of pixels. Technically.
Yeah, that's the shit I hate. The way you've explained it there is, it was too much for me to handle. It's perfect. I reckon they want people to have that.
For me, it was that relationship that we came to love from the first game is what drives Ellie in the second one. It's because of that exact love for this sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, a father figure, a kind of like a stepdad, whatever you want to call that relationship that she has with Joel. That's what drives you through The Last of Us Part 2. That's what drives you through that story. And it just shows how fucking brutal the human nature is when it comes down to it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have seen the bad things that Joel has done. You can accept why it's happened, and yet still, it was too much.
But that's the point, and that's what this game does perfectly. Is we played as Joel. You kill a fuck ton of people. You literally go through that hospital and mow down everyone in your way to get out at the end. Joel is
It's got like a 300-person death count.
And he does that knowing that he has sentenced mankind, women, children, to death. Because, he has the cure here, but he just can't let it go. Yep. Joel is not a good person, but because we play it,
selfish
we play as him, and he's the hero in our story in the first game, we don't see it like that. So then when he's killed, again, like Biggie says, the story drives you on as Ellie. You are driven on for the next, it must be about 20 hours. It's the game.
20, 30 hours.
How long's the game in general? It's about 25, 30 altogether, isn't it?
Took me 38 hours.
Yeah, so you probably play about 15 hours at least as Ellie. And with it, and you are constantly chasing the fireflies down, and you do bad things. You kill a pregnant woman. And as you as a player, you're like, fuck, that's like shit, that's awful. Yeah. But then you also kind of feel like, but she was one of the people that killed Joel. It's like,
is it worth that sacrifice?
It's a grey area, isn't it? Like you kind of think, well, fuck me, that's a pregnant woman, but also she's a baddie. Then the game flips you on like big time,
genius,
and you then play as Abby, who is the person who killed Joel, and you then start that part. You get to a point where they meet halfway, and then you start her journey, and you then see that she lives in a community with children and schools.
They're not baddies.
And not baddies. These are just other people trying to get on with their lives, just like Joel's community is.
I'd almost go as far to say as they are nice people. Yeah, they are the goodies.
They are nice people. They are kind of militarized. Some of them.
Joel's not
all of them are nice, but there are people within that community that are nice. And all she knows is that this man came into our community after we invited him in, killed my dad, killed my friends, and a lot of people I love. And she wants revenge. And when you start that...
And stop the world from surviving.
Yeah. And when you start that section, you very much are like, I don't want to fucking play as her. This is manipulation. Why are you fucking playing me as her? I want to kill this woman. I want to kill all of them. I don't care about this. And then you gradually start to play as Abby, and you see everything through...
You get to throw ball for the dog.
You get to see everything through her eyes and see what's happening from her side. And then you start to look at it and go, is Ellie the bad guy here?
Yeah, because they all whisper like she's a ghost, like she's a silent assassin.
And the moment where Ellie kills the pregnant woman, when you see that from Abby's side, so you go to that area and you're like, fuck, I know this area.
There's blood everywhere.
I know what's coming. And sure enough, on that side, Abby, you walk around and fuck, there's her friends, her ex-lover, her friend who is pregnant, dead. Like, from her side, that's horrific. And this game just completely flipped me. By the end of this, I wanted to kill Ellie. You when you have that battle in the theater, you have a fight with her in the theater, And I wanted to kill Ellie. I wanted Abby to win and Ellie to die because of what this game does narratively. The way it flips you to see it from the other side is so brave. The first off killing Joel was brave, then flipping you to the other side to show them. And I just think narratively and story, it's just so well written and so good. And even at the end, they eventually just part ways. And at the end, you have an epilogue where
it's over for years, isn't it? Like a year or so.
You have an epilogue where you play as Ellie, and she can't let it go. She can't let the fact that it go that this I didn't get my revenge.
She doesn't sleep and stuff, does she?
So she goes after her for one last time, and she eventually finds her. And again, she finds Abby in such a state where she's basically been left out, crucified, hasn't she, by these people to starve to death and be picked apart by the crows.
Yeah. And she's so skinny and gone.
And they have this fight, and you genuinely, as fighting as Elliot, and you've been forced to do these, press these buttons, and you're like, I don't want to do this. Is there any way I can stop doing this? Because I don't want to do that. And I just think
it doesn't give you that choice, does it?
No. And I just think that it's just absolutely fantastic that they were able to take you from loving two characters that you played with in The Last of Us 1, seeing what happened to them, seeing his brutal murder, and being all in on this revenge mission. Like, fuck yeah, I'm going to kill them. I can't wait to get on my horse.
It's like Kill Bill, isn't it?
Yeah, go off with Ellie and kill them all. And then for that to completely flip and you just end up siding with the other side. It's just amazing. It's fucking incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I flipped back and forth because you also have to remember Ellie is oblivious to how the world was before everything had happened to it.
She was born in...
Yeah, but just in the sense of how you got to know Ellie in the first game, that this whole wonder that she had of Joel showing her telling her what the world was like, and she learns everything new about what a record player is and what these posters mean, and it's her discovery of the world that we know in the first game, and that flip in the second game, back and forth, back and forth, and there's some great scenes with Joel in the flashbacks, and that are fantastic, and I just kept flipping my emotions for both characters. I was for Ellie, against Ellie, for Abby, hated Abby. I was just back and forth throughout that game. Just really didn't know who I was siding for.
I was different because I didn't like Joel while I was playing him in the first game. I thought he was a bastard from the off. Obviously, I hate what happened to him in the prologue of the first game. It's awful. What an awful thing to go through. And from that moment on, I think after that, he's the baddie there. He is the baddie.
He's nearly always the instigator in the first game. Of any situation they walk into, it's nearly always
remember, at the beginning, he was talking about, they were doing human trafficking and stuff like that. They were doing all sorts of horrible, heinous things.
Because he almost redeemed himself until nearly at the end. Yeah, it's the protection, that daughter relationship that he has with Ellie, that it's, yes, but you've got to remember it's from his viewpoint. So you're playing that character. So to him,
absolutely,
his task now in this awful world is to protect this girl at all costs because it's like his daughter. He couldn't do it with his original daughter, so now he's doing it for his new daughter, if you want to call it that. So that is in his viewpoint. He wants to protect her, and when he has that awful decision to make, you're seeing that just through his eyes. So then when you see the world from Abby's eyes, you're sympathising with her, what she has been through her life, losing her father. But that's what I mean. To me, I just flipped back and forth. I saw both sides of the story, and that's why I found it really hard to play that game, because I just didn't know who I sided for, even at the end. Because what Ellie loses as well, it's revealed at the end, is just heartbreaking as well.
Especially fucking fingers.
Yeah. That's why in the end, when you're playing as Ellie and they're doing that final thing, going, don't want to do this, because Abby's let it go. She agreed, this is like they both agreed to part ways, and Ellie cannot let it go, and she ends up just being the villain in her own story.
Yeah, I think when Neil Druckmann says it's a commentary on what they did as developers as well, like. There were a lot of people, there were that chatter about how in Uncharted that Nathan Drake just kills thousands of people without any repercussions. This game is that commentary on those repercussions.
Yeah, big time.
When you kill hundreds of people, it fucking bites you in the ass.
Yeah.
And I think it's fucking genius. Yeah. it's like a magical thing that narrators and storytellers daren't do. They daren't upset the fan base, and Druckmann's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm telling the story that needs to be told, and I kind of love that it sounds horrible, but I kind of love that there's a toxic group of people that are saying, I can't play this game, they ruined my game. I'm going back to Gears of War. Do you know what I mean? I like that he's done that, because he's done it fucking deliberately, and it's fucking genius. I don't care. Like, some people can't play it because it's not an easy game. Some people don't like killing games and stuff like that, but I think it's so important, Stig. You're right bringing this up.
Yeah, so it was like, again, was it needed? Did it work? Yeah, it was. People complained, said it didn't need it. They had an idea and a plan, and it absolutely fucking nailed it. And it's just an outstanding game.
It's stunning. Yeah. It's in my top 10, that sequel. I think it's way better than first.
Did you go back to it now, Candy?
Just for the themes.
Do you know what? I was thinking about that as you were talking, and I just don't think I can. I just don't think I can.
I just spoiled it.
I mean, I want to.
Swallow.
I want to.
It is a tough pill to swallow because it came out
at the wrong time.
A real pandemic.
Do you know what? I wonder if that's what the problem was with me. I wonder if we.
Of course, that's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not being able to play it.
I wonder if I did go back to it now, it being in a bit.
It's
of
also
a situation.
I mean, we haven't mentioned it was. It's a fucking horror game. It's fucking frightening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you don't want that. You don't want that in life. And the second one more than the first one. There's more humans in the second one that you have to kill, isn't there? Rather than creatures and stuff. Because these creatures are starving, they're dying out. But I think real horror is man was the real villain. I think that's so frightening. Oh, it's fucking genius. Well worth it.
Right, we've covered it.
And that's it. That's everybody, is it? Mm-hmm. Yep. Well done. Good topic, that, Biggie. I'm glad you thought that up all on your own. And now it's time for the mailbag. But I don't know who's doing it this week. Who's going to do it?
I could do it.
You can do it.
I can try.
Is it bullshit?
It's quite a lot, actually. So, and some long ones as well. You know how good at...
Stig loves reading stuff out as well. It doesn't take many goes for him to do it.
One take Stig, that's what they call me.
What they call you?
What?
To be fair,
I'm not doing any.
I'm editing it, so I'll make it one take. That's what I do on the MCU shows.
One take. Sometimes he says things that I never heard because I weren't there when he said it. He just puts it in at the end.
Those breakdown synopsis.
I'm sure he's got clips of me going, yeah, that's a really poignant thing, that Stig. Yeah, absolutely. I've never said it, ever. He just puts me in it. I
completely disagree with what you were saying.
The power of the editor.
Absolutely.
First up is Xenos. He says, don't remind me, just side-eyeing the Hobbit films hard enough to strain a muscle. Since you know the prequels to Lord of the Rings, even if the books did come out before the Lord of the Rings books, God, what were they doing with these? All they had to do was stick to the damn book. The book's fine. They just threw in a load of random extra plot threads to pad it out to 3 films when it meant to be 2 originally, including an extra villain who couldn't have any influence on the plot because it still had to hit the bits that actually mattered. A love interest that had no reason to exist, and bloody Legolas, who's not even in the Hobbit books, making like Mario-like platforming off a load of falling blocks. And to top it all off, the production actively messing with New Zealand's labour laws so they could get it made and kind of blackmailing the government. So I did not know that.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, there were a lot of shite come from that.
Oh dear. Which is probably...
It's a fucking...
Yeah, which was probably not how people are expecting me to end that last paragraph, but it's true. I would recommend Lindsay Ellis's YouTube documentary, The Hobbit, a long-expected autopsy to anyone interested in finding out more. Anyway, in conclusion, they made a horrible hash of a lot of things and made a lot of people very unhappy in the process. Yep. I remember binging all 3 Lord of the Rings films, one at night after another, before the day I went to go see The Hobbit. I've just been so disappointed with that first film. I never went back to see the other 2 in the cinema.
Absolutely adored the first movies, and I will say I enjoy the Hobbit movies purely because I'm back in that universe again, but they're not very good movies. I do enjoy just being in there. They did. They
bastardized that universe, though. That's the problem. Azog, the big pale orc thing from nowhere with his big hook on his hand and fucking Legolas turned. Mate, I was furious. I was furious when Legolas turned up. Oh,
just so stupid.
Pathetic. Oh.
Anyway, Mr. Podcast himself, Planty, he's been in touch.
Oh.
Mr. Podcast Worldwide. I'm only going to echo what everyone else says, but my wife Rachel has opinions. She loves all the Harry Potters, but the prequels left her wanting. You're either about catching monsters, or you're about Dumbledore as a middle-aged man. But pick a lane. Exactly what we just said.
Yep.
That's fucking... Yeah. That Planty's got a point.
Yep. The one I can think of, personally, is, as you know, I'm a massive fan of The Simpsons. A film was the right step, but at the wrong time. Imagine if we'd had a film where Hank Scorpio was the main bad guy and not some poorly thought out under the dome story without any memorable jokes.
I imagine a Hank Scorpio film.
That would have been amazing. The return of Hank Scorpio.
That would have been so
it would have been amazing.
God.
Still, Green Day got melted in industrial waste like the guy in RoboCop. So it's not all bad.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good bit.
Next up, Lee Davies as Leroy fucking hell.
San Francisco.
Close enough.
I'll leave that one in. Blade Runner 2049. Totally worth it. Dare I say, better than the first? Yes, it probably is. Also, see Mad Max Fury Road. Better than at least 2 of the Gibson ones. Agreed on Blade Runner.
Blade Runner 2 is the best Blade Runner, and Fury Road is the best Mad Max film.
I don't know, Mad Max 2.
Bang on. Absolutely bang on. Mad Max 2 is incredible, but Fury Road's one of the best films ever made. It's fucking insane. Give up. Rose tinted biggie.
Jack Chalmers Ward from The Sequelizers. He says the vast majority of the time, the answer is no. As we found from The Sequelizers, sequels are more often than not a disappointment. There are a few exceptions, but most of the long-awaited sequels/prequels are either underwhelming or out-and-out rubbish. This is true.
Yeah, like The Matrix 4 was definitely worth it, wasn't it?
Oh,
yes, that was not needed. Never was the thing. You could do a really great Matrix film, but
mate, there's something there. There is something
that world's
there
right.
For
that
it,
world
but...
and everything is right for a good Matrix film. Just doesn't have to follow on from them.
Some different survivors.
I'll have Keanu Reeves in it.
He's not the worst thing in it. That's the thing. It's not that. It's not him. It's not his fault for once. It's everything else.
At J70 says Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. Absolutely worth it.
Oh,
I didn't watch that. Is it any good?
Super good.
I should watch it because me and my daughter watched Dark Crystal and she really liked it. So
it's just as frightening. Yeah. It's fucking brilliant.
Ray's been in touch. He says, "Hi, Modern Escapism. I think some movies of the Terminator series, especially Genesis and Dark Fate, are good examples of prequels or sequels not worth the effort at all. Although it can be argued that most prequels and sequels do not reach the quality of their predecessors, they do, however, add something new to the series, expanding the universe or uncovering some mysteries, for example, making them at least valuable for nerd discussions. But the 2 aforementioned films were basically retells of the classic Terminator stories with poorly incorporated fluffs that are not exciting audiences for new experiences. And by ditching familiar old faces, then relegating the movies as happening in parallel universes, they left fans who seek continuity having little reasons to be interested. I had a lot of fun with the Terminator series, even Salvation and the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Kind of a shame that we have a franchise that ended with those 2 installments."
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Yep, flawless.
Yep. Right. God, if I was having trouble reading stuff out before, here we go.
Get ready.
Super Natty Cat.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, not this harlot.
All right, I'll use the effing email.
She did it proper, like a good one.
What, this is not from Twitter?
She says, "Only this week, because I'm late and I'm tired. Ni no Kuni is my favourite JRPG of all time. Typical Ghibli Japanese cartoon storyline. Little boy loses his mother and gets transported to a world of dragons, witches, and talking fairies.
Just
with
like
Welsh
our
accents.
Scorched sheep pod.
Brilliant. Ni no Kuni 2 was announced, and I could not wait for this sequel. It built on the mechanics of the first one, worked on an entirely new story with new characters, and the protagonist is a little boy with cat ears and a tail. And what more could you want? Well, I wanted to platinum this game just to do it justice. But me being a total dick, as the game progressed, I sold all my old armor and weapons to cash to buy other things. Like, I don't know, cute outfits and shit. So I sold some inconspicuous, stinky shoes right at the beginning of the game. Lo and behold, at the end of the game, you trade the stinky shoes for a very high item to get you the trophy. I pummeled 100 hours into the game, and there was no way I was going to do it again for some stinky shoes. Anyway, Ni no Kuni 2, worth the wait and amazing.
Ni no Kuni, the series, fucking brilliant. What great games, them. If you like Dragon Quest XI, you'll love Ni no Kuni. Fucking sensational games. Oh, it's just as good. It's not as good, actually. The first one's better. Yeah.
Next up,
lovely.
Angry Kurt. He says, "Hi, ME crew. Having just seen the latest film in the franchise, I'm going to say Jurassic Park films from the second film onwards. But you could even include that sequel. The quality of the films after the first is mixed, and I will say that I quite enjoyed the new one. However, I think they should have stopped with the first and second films. The reason I say is partly due to the mixed quality after those, but also because when we think about it, after the events of the first film, let alone the second, there's no way anyone would want to get involved with dinosaurs ever again. Because of this, they have to make up an interestingly stupid plots to drive the film and include the latest one in that. I fully expect, however, that the new film won't be the last, so they'll do return to the... I fully expect that the new film won't be the last, so if they do return to the well, I think maybe a franchise reboot is in order."
There's only one Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I agree.
So Jurassic World was the reboot, really.
Yeah.
New name, new kind of thing. Jurassic World I quite enjoyed because
I like the beginning of Jurassic World when the part works.
It did that Force Awakens thing where it's basically trying to tell the same story, putting you in that world. It was fun.
Yeah.
We all know my thoughts on Fallen Kingdom.
Loved it, didn't you?
Yeah, like fucking kicking the balls.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. Just in general, were the sequels worth it? Not all. For storyline wise, for trying to keep the quality of the original up, none of them were worth it. Even if 2 does have actually some good moments, like as a whole, it's not worth it. And last up is Stuart Main, and this feedback does contain spoilers for this film. So if you don't want to know about it, then you can skip ahead past it for a couple of minutes, probably. And he says, "Was it worth it? So hopefully this gets you in time." It did. I'd like to discuss Blade Runner 2049. I hate it.
Good man. Whoa, what? Thanks, Stuart. Thanks for the feedback. See you later.
Stuart is well known on the Sea Equalizers Discord for this opinion. It is not shared by many other people there, but he will stick to his guns.
In the world.
So he goes on and says, Blade Runner is one of the greatest films ever made. There was no need to carry on the story at all, but boy did they try. The problem is that despite it aping its predecessor, 2049 misses out on one of all the gravitas. Its visuals are good, but it needed to be more than just good. The music can be described as present, bar one thing I'll get back to. Story is fine, but the second the memory woman gets introduced, it's clear who she's going to be. That was either a twist that was so poorly executed, it would have been less obvious if there had been a GOI signpost in it. But at an attempt at a double bluff, they didn't pass the first bluff. Ryan Gosling has the charisma matching Deckard from the first, but none of the, for want of a better term, humanity. He's somehow a passenger in his own story. Harrison Ford doesn't even try either, but then again, when does he? For me, the 2 most egregious mistakes are that it attempts to answer the question of Deckard's humanity and the final scene. Whether Deckard is a replicant or not is one of cinema's greatest questions. Yes, there is an answer, but the ambiguity is one of the great things about the original film. You can watch it with either viewpoint and get distractingly different interpretations of the film. Now, you watch it, and any nuance of is he, isn't he questions are answered. Now, you watch it knowing and any nuance of is he, isn't he questions are answered, closing off any other interpretation. But for me, the worst part is Gosling's death, not because he shouldn't die, but for having the audacity to have Tears in the Rain to play. Roy Batty's speech is beautiful and filled with an emotion that is almost palatable. We've seen this character as a villain, but in his final moments, we see him as another life gone and the question of our own mortality. Ryan Gosling lying in the snow has none of this. He starts as stony-faced, emotionless character and ends the same way. There's no moment that at any point endeared us to him in the way Batty has.
Oh,
Anyway, love the show.
you're completely wrong.
Brilliantly written. Great
Some
points.
actually real good points.
Wrong,
in there.
though. Wrong, though. And I'm not going to get into it this week, but feel free to DM me and we can chat for hours because it's just a better film. But is that the heaving? Well done, Stig. Doing it all in one take. My God, I don't know how you manage
Someone
that.
else doing it next week.
It's a shame that you haven't got any of those fuck ups that you could put in at the end as one long list of an Easter egg.
Don't give me
What
more work.
fuck
I did a
up
long
you on-
episode.
fuck ups
right,
are you on about?
So, you did it in one take. Right. Thank you very much for that, Stig. So, as always, links to all our extracurricular activities are in the show notes and at modernescapism.co.uk. And please consider becoming a patron to help support our endeavours. Next week, we have a special guest from 100 Things We Learned from Film. You've got it, you've guessed it already. It's the STI of podcasting. It's Planty. He's going to be joining us and he wants us to create our own multiverse. What is he like? Oh, man. It's a Northern takeover again.
Another guy I
Let's
can't
fucking
understand.
go.
Yeah.
God.
Me, Oodles, and Planty. 3 Northerners in a room.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Well, there usually is 3 Northerners because Gadget's here, but yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah,
be
but he's not got the Yorkshire accent.
Gadget's more of a Southern Scottish,
Yeah.
isn't he? Southern Scotland.
Do you know what? I'm really looking forward to next week's episode. I think it's going to be proper funny. What he wants us to do is just take any kind of series, like from a book, cross it over into films, TV shows, or comics, or games. Basically, just take franchises and characters and worlds and just blend whatever you want together just to create whatever world you want. I think it's going to be really funny because we could just go nuts. So that's what we want from you, from the listeners, your ideas, and I can't wait to hear what the rest of you are going to do.
But yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It's a bit of a concept episode. We're going to let Planty lead the main topic about this multiverse madness. But that's it. For everyone that's not a patron, we will... This has been a podcast, but for the patrons, we'll meet you round back for the green room. But that's it. Good night. Adios. Bye.
Hi, losers.
Because it was... Oh, fucking hell. See? One take.
One take.
What's he say here? Right. I'm going to start again. Sorry. I'm going to edit this. It's the writing makes no sense. That's the problem.
Leave this in.
There's the Easter egg.
Nope. I don't know what he means by this. Right, I'm just going to miss that bit out. Fucking hell, it makes no sense. Right. It's like me when I write things and I read it back, it makes no sense. Where's Gadget when you need him?